civilized. I'm civilized. No, 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 no. No, I'm not cursing anyone. Ella. When you talk, I don't wanna fucking listen. You fucking bitch. You don't talk. When you're talking, Ella, when you talk about killing children, there's no civilian way to talk about it. When you're talking about bombing civilians, killing babies, fucking babies. If I came to your home and I killed your fucking baby, what would you do? I would talk about it in civilian way. You're not talking about it in civilian way. You don't want to hear the other opinion. The fucking baby's dead.
Yeah, you don't know
the fucking baby. Shut the fuck up, you motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about your fucking opinion. You were talking about children's babies beheaded. Look at daily picture. The baby is beheaded. Would you accept that? And you wanna discuss it in a civilian? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Ella. Okay? So please shut the fuck up. Would you talk it, Ella? Would you talk about it in a civilian way? When your baby, I bomb your baby, I behead him, and then I come to you, talk it in a civilian way? Wallah, he won't talk it in a civilian way. If I came to your home, Wallah, you will kill me. If I killed your baby. That's it. Thank you.
That's exactly what they did on October 7th.
Shut the fuck up, you motherfucker. Or fucking deserve this. I come to your home, I can fuck you, motherfucker asshole.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but you know the fact that you want to go to his house and fuck his asshole, doesn't that make you gay? Aren't you trans?
Okay, if you wanna get fucking a fight, okay, let's go to fight. I can ruin this fucking room. I have no problem. Who the bitch was talked?
Helicopter, I gotta inform you here again. And you know, this is why I love to talk to people. Because you just have to you don't even have to be disrespectful. You only bring information, the right information. Because Helicopter seems to be a very misinformed person. And we gotta educate him here again.
He doesn't understand that we need a ceasefire and we have to free Palestine now. End the genocide. Enough is enough.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. No, guys. Helicopter. The story.
You're just making the donkey talking. That's the problem.
Repetition teaches the donkey.
There is
rationalizing by something.
Everyone down is always interrupting. What is wrong with you guys? Okay? What is wrong? I'm trying to tell Helicopter how misinformed he is. Because the story of the beheaded babies is for a very long time now, from all official sides, debunked already. And if you come up with that story all over again and again and again, that just means how ignorant you are. You know, because it's not even debunked by the journalist itself who brought up that story, and she was lying, and she posted a little post on her Twitter that was not really, seen, but, she would say, I was wrong. It was debunked by every authority, like the American, they even apologized for it, and on the Israeli side. And, Biden still brings that up, I know, but still, it's a wrong story. So don't never, ever come up with that stupid story, and please don't come up with a story of people who got raped on the 7th of October, because until now, even the officials said, there is an official report, there is no visual proof and evidence of rape on the 7th of October. So if you ever bring up that argument again, I gotta
be applied back to you. That's the funny part. You want to hear my opinion.
And why are you always interrupting, Helicopter? I'm
because you've been
educating
talking
you
for
right
90 minutes straight, and I haven't said a single word. Like 5 minutes, you haven't
I'm
listened.
just informed. You know what? You don't want to be informed, then leave the room. If you don't want to listen about facts, then just leave it.
I think you're the one who doesn't want to listen about facts. Like you clearly don't want to hear the all of these people.
But I have a question for Ella, moderator.
Yes, please.
Pretty much, I want to ask the question about who do you support, Hamas or Israel or the IDF?
Are you kidding me? I am.
No, I'm just being serious.
Okay. I support Palestine. Yes.
Because
So?
it seems like you don't. I'm not gonna hold you.
Oh, why so? Tell me.
Because you're denying proof.
I'm not.
From the way that I can.
Proof. What proof do I deny? Tell me.
About them killing children and beheading children.
AI generated.
No, wait.
AI generated. So you think that children getting killed is AI generated?
No, the beheaded babies, man. The 40 beheaded babies.
I'm talking about the 40 beheaded babies. What are you talking about, King? No one is listening, and that's the problem. People don't listen. Even if you bring information and facts, people don't listen, and that's your problem, people.
Listen.
No. I'm listening. We're having a civil conversation. I'm hearing from your side, and I'm telling you my point of view. We're having a civil conversation. Go ahead.
You are the one interrupting me, asking me that silly question on which side I am on, but yeah, that's fine. So, Helicopter, are you interested in more facts? If not, I'm gonna
Well, the
ask
facts are that I think there should be a complete secession of Palestinian and Israeli authority on that region, and it should be given for a third party. I know it doesn't sound well for you because you want like Islamic State or whatever they want. It's just
You have no clue what I want.
ethno state.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that there should be a complete secession of both sides, and there should be a third regional state. Because both of them are. 1 second, don't interrupt me, because I didn't interrupt you for like 90 minutes.
You interrupted me.
Interrupting me.
Yes, because I want to. Because you did it all the time. That's why.
Why?
I want
Because
to do it
I
now
don't
as well.
support like an Islamic regime in the region.
Because you're contradicting yourself and you're talking nonsense.
The sword of jihad. It has nothing to do with anything.
Man, there's nothing what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
It's not about supporting any religious regime. It's about the truth over there.
The little people
Guys,
keep turning it into a religious conversation when it's like political.
Can I have 1 minute? Guys, we all know what happened in Iraq. They came to Iraq telling that Iraq have weapons of mass destruction. They destroyed this country.
No way.
No,
sorry.
And then they say, oh,
Sorry,
no,
saying
they don't
yo,
have
Cubs only.
mass destruction. And the same thing happening today. Hamas is decapitating babies. Blah, 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 blah. They are terrorists. And then, after 10 years of this massacre that happened today, people like Helicopter and King or any one of those people
Sorry, senor,
thinking that decapitating baby event happened, they would say, oh, we didn't know. They have this, like, we have misunderstanding. They, like, tell us lies, and they will look stupid like what happened after everyone knows what happened in Iraq was like the US wanted to invade Iraq because of the gold, because of the oil. That's it.
Thank you. You're right. That's first of all. Second of all, Ella, you removed him, and I just wanted to do it so fucking much, but it's okay.
I moved the audience because he would not listen to the information.
Exactly that I'm saying. You're arguing with the donkey.
Get up here, big boy, Michael.
So I did not.
You're arguing with the donkey. That's your problem. Not everyone has the right to talk. Sometimes they are just trolling.
I want to. You don't have to tell me how long I want to talk to a donkey. But this was now enough for me. So that's why I removed him to the audience. And he left himself the room. I did not kick him.
No, I really just wanted to do it, but it's okay. But listen, for everyone, it's if you want to say it religiously, if you
bro, it ain't no.
Cause you trying to make it about you, and it's not about you. You trying to make them believe something that is not believable.
Bro, we all heard.
I think you better let it go.
Let it
Look like another love TKO.
I don't like this.
Yeah, I definitely don't like it. That's why.
Don, I literally was asking everybody's talking about my kids as if they were dead folks.
You said
It's
no
personal.
dead.
It was an example. I wasn't talking about no dead folks.
You said dead ass folks.
In my truck, and I said you're wrong. Don't be saying no shit like that. I told him that. You didn't hear when I said that?
Yeah, but I'm saying he's trying to make it seem like I was talking about his dead folks.
No, I understand. I heard all the conversation. I heard it.
And was I talking about dead folks, or was I asking a question as an example?
I took it as a question, as an example.
Okay. And that's it.
But that's what I took it as.
You don't sit up there and talk like that.
You was asking me questions, and you got mad because I asked you a question, and you shouldn't even have a question.
Y'all carry on.
Yeah,
Like, shut up, talk.
Isn't it a little early in the morning for all this argumentation?
How you doing, Hypnosis? Good morning.
Good morning. People got mood swings. I mean, what? How do we fix the mood swings?
We tried to.
By not talking about
medication, man.
We started a new motherfucking room.
By not talking about people.
We don't know how to stop it.
You gotta stop playing this little.
Right,
We don't know how to fix this shit.
I'm not talking.
This shit is toxic.
You still talking to me. I'm not talking to you. He just asked the question. I was answering his
Hey,
question.
yo, man.
Not yours.
Yeah, they gonna hate me in these rooms. Like, oh, but Cash cool. She cool. She good people.
Yes, we is good people. I think y'all just got off on the wrong foot.
And we gonna stay on the wrong
Uh-uh.
stepped over my job.
Okay, well, fuck, like I said, man, fuck it, it is what it is, man.
It's all it is.
Hey, Queen.
See me, ain't nothing, I ain't stressed.
Good morning, Queen. How you doing, love?
Man, this shit is lit up in here. What the fuck going on?
Sometimes we be lit, sometimes we be cool.
Yeah, type shit, goddamn.
Sometimes it's early this morning. Sometimes we get off.
Shorty say, fuck the right to we gonna stay on the wrong, but.
You ask me, man, she need to stay on that makeup on her.
You need to worry about you. That's the problem. You always concerned about the next person. Worry about you. And I'm pretty as fuck.
You not.
All communication is hypnosis. Oh. Good morning, Shalom, and welcome back to an amazing and all communication is hypnosis.
You motherfuckers, Americans, you don't give a fuck or shit about us, okay? So don't give your fucking opinion. You fucking transgender.
Right, so we were talking before on how I indiscriminately appeal to hostages. The only hostages that are held captive in the Zionist regime is military captives. They're not.
Military, my ass. They are killing the children. Can you see the picture of Billy or Pally?
Eitan, this is your Shabbos Goy detection system. Oh, maybe Shabbos. Shabbos can't be over for you yet. Impossible.
What's up?
Oh, nothing. I'm just getting up here. It's 5:35 in the morning.
Oh yeah, 5:35. It's about 1:35 here.
What are you doing?
I'm just fucking around. It's kind of lazy today. I got kind of sluggish. Got some medical shit that I got to attend to, so I'm not running around like I would do on a Saturday.
Oh, well, gotta take care of your health. Health, wealth, love.
Yeah, that's true. You know these things when you get older and wiser. I said should have, could have, would have. But I've neglected that a little bit. I was overweight and drink a little too much caffeine and stuff like that. I never smoked though.
Well, maybe some other stuff in the past, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
not cigarettes.
Well, I was at this college alumni party, and this older gentleman. I said, "What's your secret? You know, how do you look so great? How do?" And he goes, "Yoga. Yoga is the secret."
Yeah, I love yoga. Actually, I took yoga initially when I was in college as a way to meet girls. It worked. But I actually fell in love with the actual art itself.
Yeah, it's just body mechanics, but it's more than that because when you're doing it, it's like a huge escape. Um, it's amazing. Like I'll go to the gym and I'll do like the mother's pose or whatever, you know, when you spread your knees and you reach your hands out. Like I could stay there for like 10 minutes. It's like pure ecstasy.
Yeah, I love it. Come out after a yoga workout feeling really loose and energy and peaceful.
Yeah. And I also like not having pain in my body. So like that release and that movement and that work like gives me like a stasis of like, you know, 18 hours before my body starts like feeling pain again, you know, from like hip displacement and shit like that. But eventually everybody's hip ends up going out, you know? Like so you gotta it's just work, but it's good work. Very good work. So anyways, my friend is paying me to detect Jews and alert them to their violation of the Shabbos. So you know, thanks for helping contribute. Like I'm gonna bill him for this conversation. He's paying me as a Shamrim Shabbos Goy detection system.
Funny, my brother's always saying that. He's like, Shabbos Patrol, Shabbos Patrol.
Shamrim, Shamrim. It's the religious police.
No, maybe they'll call me and they'll invite me for some fucking, I don't know what, treat me to something. And, you know, the best way to get to me is through food.
Well, you should look at it as spiritual food because good food you can have anytime you want if you got money.
Yeah, I know, I'm joking around. I just, you know, I got on this app today, and I'm not doing anything. They usually on a Saturday do more things, but I go to synagogue, meet up with friends. I go because I love liturgical Hebrew. It's so flowerly and beautiful, and it just reminds me what Hebrew could be. So I go, and then I meet up with the rabbi. Rabbi's family, he's got 10 children, 9 boys and 1 girl. Very warm, accepting, loving people. Treat me as if I was one of their own. And then we have a big meal and meeting people and socializing and all. And then I might take a walk out with my brother. Might go to the beach and check out some of the girls and all that. And sit and have coffee. And then I like
Nice.
to go to Yap. But today I just been in the house all day, and I just can't get myself focused to read. It's something that I don't know. I have some books lying around the house that I haven't read in a while.
Well, I read books online because I like the when I read silently, that's great, but when I can read it out loud and theatrically perform it and record it,
Yeah.
you know, there's commercialization in that. So I like to kill two birds with one stone. I like to try to make money at the same
Right.
time. I want to document what I do and publish it.
Yeah, I got it. More power to you. What can I say?
Well, that's the thing is like reading is very difficult, but if you do it with a partner or you create content, it makes reading a joy because you
Well, I
know.
tried doing what you do. I tried I had this room where I was reading because you know I'm mostly in the Jewish houses, but I don't have to be restricted to Jewish topics. But I started reading this book, Jews God News. I don't know if you were in one of those rooms. And the first room was successful. I mean, successful people interacting. I think there was an revolving door of any given time, maybe 8 or 9 people. And it seemed to be going well. And then the week after that, maybe I didn't start at the time that I told them. But only like 3 people, and it wasn't the same chemistry. But
Mhm.
I of it. They don't get sick of it. It's amazing to me, you know.
Well, it is eventually it's a regurgitated conversation, and then it's always what amazes me is how vicious a homosexual Palestinian or Muslim man can be.
That's funny.
It's amazing because like they're such vicious, nasty speakers, and they really fucking hate Israelis and Jews and Zionists and what Americans like, but yet they're gay and they won't support Hamas, but they support Palestine, and it's like, okay, well, you're really supporting Hamas, and you do realize like LGBTQ ain't going down, but you gay. So how do you resolve these conflicts?
Well, yesterday, or was it today? No, yesterday I think was supposed to be the gay parade in Tel Aviv. I didn't make it because I think they live in a place a little bit further away from where it would be. But yeah, it's a very good point. But I left this one room. I love this room in the morning. In my time, it's morning. It's probably 10 o'clock at night time your time. It's called the Lid Comedy Club, Literature Comedy Club with Evan Lippin. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a nice room.
Yeah.
So then I finished that. I went into this like life hacks room because it just seemed like it would be pleasant. And I've been in that room with Lara. Her name is Lara. I don't know, for over a year now. And then you go from one room to the other. One was about the black and Jews, and then it somehow disintegrated to being the Hamas conflict. It's just one room after another. The title is one thing, and then it just goes back to the same Israel conflict. So I went into this English room, learning English, and there's this really cool guy called Syrian Man, and he was cool with it. He knows where I am, and he's a Palestinian. He didn't want to, but this other guy gets in there to me, and boom, it starts again. I can't go into any room without it being brought up, and I can't find any room that doesn't discuss the subject. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to get off the app for a while, but or do what I wanted to do. I did some cultural rules, and that actually works out initially. But whatever.
Well, this is the thing about speaking and listening. It's really the same thing. It is chicken and egg and chicken. So when you listen to something you don't like and it's just horribly toxic and it's full of mood swings, it's anti-intellectual, and it's mostly just propaganda. I mean, that is essentially, it's like you're doing that speaking. So it leaves a distaste in your mouth. So if this app doesn't serve you, if you're not the master, Rabboni Shalom, it's a you problem always. Like this app does give you the power to be a leader, and it's a powerful leadership app in terms of like followers and communication, downstream flow and shit like that. So if you're upstream and you're the one transmitting the knowledge and information through and it's going downstream, I mean that's one thing, but like to be downstream and ingest people's excrement, that's what this app does. It's like the river of Styx. It's just, where are you on the river?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you don't need to leave anything. There's no such leave it, because so the whole thing is just control the communication and just know that as soon as you give somebody grace of 10 seconds, you can determine within 10 seconds whether or not you really want to listen to that person or not. If I don't want to listen to that person, that's when I hit the troll button, and then I want to get kicked from the room.
Right.
It's push button surprise on this app. You can do and say whatever you want. I mean, you can create multiple personalities or profiles or IDs. Like you're LARPing here as Aton. You should create an account and call it Muhammad and just go around and pretend you're a fucking Muslim living in Riyadh and see how that
Can I do
fits.
that from the same phone, or are they gonna pick up on the fact that it's from the same phone or something?
No, you have to get a new telephone number so you can activate a new account.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
If you can get a burner phone, I mean, I buy burner phones for $50 here, and then I get a 1 month $15 package to get the number. So each new phone costs me $65.
Oh, I got that. That's it. $65.
Yeah, I'm looking at 100 phones in front of me now.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. This app, has been awesome.
Has it been? I mean, I enjoyed this 3 years ago when I first got on. I took it more seriously, but in a lot of ways, to me, it just deteriorated. But
Well,
how
the
long have you been on the tab for?
4+ years.
Oh, so you know better than I do. I
Yeah.
don't know. There used to be a lot of smarter people. I used to. There was this one guy named Fiat who was spot. He was pretty brilliant. There were journalists on this, very intelligent people. There was all kinds of rooms, but it just seemed that it's all younger people now and illiterate.
Yeah, but the nature hasn't changed. I read something yesterday. It says, well, obviously all communication is hypnosis, but this is another one. It says all conversations are arbitrary, or all communication is arbitrary. Arbitrary in the sense that, we say, "Ugh, that's so arbitrary. What's your point?" So, what I'm saying is, all conversations are circular. Nothing new has ever been said under the sun. You may like, regurgitated communication, but this is a communication hypnosis app. So, maybe you're just not hip to be square, meaning that your sour grapes is still a you problem, meaning that maybe you don't have the power that you want. If you want, yeah, if you want more power, you have to go to the source of power, which is within and through the sacred alphabet. So, if you want to I would just say your sour grapes can be resolved by becoming an educator or a rabbi, meaning that in the process of teaching other people, you save yourself, you save them, and you actually create high value intelligence and information. So,
I've been told that. Actually, anybody who knows me says that I should have been either one of them, a teacher or a rabbi. And I've done teaching positions.
well, see, that's what I'm saying is when you control the communication through teaching, it's amazing how teaching educates you in the process. It's like reading tarot cards. The person asking the question to the tarot card reader is not the beneficiary of that equation. It's the person doing the tarot card reading that gains the most from the tarot card experience, even if there's money being passed. So that's what I'm just saying. Like support those that support Torah, the teacher through baby being. I'm sure you've experienced this where you learn things as you're teaching. You're like, whoa, this has been a very valuable experience. I don't need to preach to an older man. I mean, I'm sure you know all this shit. And you're like, yo, what's your point, kid? I know all this shit, yo. I'm living my best life. I'm gonna go have lunch in Yafo at Old Man by the Sea.
Oh, yeah, you know well. But yeah, when you teach, you learn also. That's why the Hebrew is the same word. The man, I was taught that as a kid.
What, teacher and student is the same root word?
Well, to teach and to learn come from the same word. Lamed, Hebrew? Lamed, men, dalit, that.
Yeah, I know the words, but I don't really know. I don't know Hebrew.
So, Limod is to learn. Lamed is to teach. And Talmud, of course, is the teachings.
Mm.
I get into this kind of stuff, but then every now and then I open up a room and a few other people are interested in this, and it gets pretty cool.
Why don't I think you called me once a Makugala once, and because I read Zohar or Kabbalah. Why don't you read and teach, or just read Kabbalah because it's all self actualization information. So
Well, yeah, I mean, where do you suggest I would start?
just get a Zohar. Just read Zohar. Zohar is so mystical. Every single story in the Zohar is like an aha. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
I had a copy. I remember when I was way back. This is when I'm talking about 1984. I don't know if you were even born then, but yeah, I think you were. But
I'm born in '82. Yeah.
okay, yeah. I walked into this bookstore in the university, and then I pulled out this book about the Zohar. It was a short pamphlet, not a pamphlet, but a short book, and flipping through the stories, and there was like samplings, and one story after another was like mind blowing. Just flipped the way you thought of things. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, It's a very, very advanced book in terms of like psychotherapeutic healing. It's a healing book, is what it is.
Sure.
Yeah, it's all the same. It's really hypnotherapy because we're so accustomed to consuming information now through videos. In 1860, you would read Zohar to each other, and you'd probably have a glass of red wine, maybe smoke a joint, and you'd be like, "Wow."
Right.
Just think about that. Like back in the day, families would entertain themselves. They would put on, like people would read books. I mean, that was books were the ancient software, are the ancient apps. Your library is an app store. People just don't view it as that because it's so hard to read a book, to get the concentration and the desire and the will to want to read. It is not an easy thing to do anymore because we're in an intoxicated environment of media which demands our attention all the time. I mean, I've started abandoning my cell phone, like leaving it at home and going out of my house and doing everything without a phone. And when you don't bring a phone with you, you're really looking at the world and you're really paying attention to everything and everyone. I went to this restaurant. The guy handed me a card, with a QR code to scan for the menu. I said, I didn't bring my phone. He's like, holy shit. He's like, you're the first person who's never had their phone.
Oh God.
My mom has a flip phone. It's a dummy phone because she doesn't want all the incoming communication from a smartphone. She just if she, and she's a businesswoman and she's successful. And if you got business to talk, you call her. You don't even text her, and that's it. She doesn't deal with no nonsense. You know how many fucking hours of her life, days, weeks, maybe a year she's saved of her life not looking at a fucking smartphone? Oh, it's not smart, man. It's a prison phone. It's a cell phone. It's meant to trap you psychologically, even spiritually.
Isn't that the truth?
It's
Well,
powerful technology.
I got a call coming in, and I'll get back to you if you're around here another 20 minutes from now.
Yeah, I got the Zohar here. If you can get a Zohar, do a Zohar reading. Rabbana Shalom. Okay, talk to you soon. Good Shabbos.
Yeah, how many times did you read Science and Sanity? Because he says at the beginning you should read it at least like 5 times.
Well, I've read it twice thoroughly and dabbled in it. Oops, I put it in the wrong room here. Okay, here we go. I don't, that was a long time ago, 1933. I'm amazed that people. It's been it's probably been 20 years since I've read it now. But I remember, the language is arcane, and that, and it was so long ago. Before we've learned so much in neuroscience, since then, and yet still all of his stuff seems so right,
Well, yeah, I was thinking it would be amazing to kind of do a really good review of it and kind of all the things he talks about in neuroscience and in schizophrenia and really update it and see how it compares to the current knowledge. It'd be amazing to see that because obviously, it is very dated knowledge.
Why would you leave with the cousin and let
What the fuck are you talking about? Now, shut the fuck up. Why? Victoria.
No, like, why would you do that? You want to go see that girl and then you go.
I went because, what the hell? I went
Jazzy at the house. Motherfucking phone all night long. We stayed all night trying to call this nigga.
Who? You. What the?
Ain't no out in this motherfucker.
He was getting some of that jazzy coochie. When Oscar made Jazzy come, she said, hello? 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 That's the spot. Don't stop. That's the spot. Don't stop. Hello? Hello?
That sound like high. You know what? So you was not interested in Jazzy. That's fucked up.
He left Jazzy at the house. Me and Jazzy was
The cousin must have been pretty.
We didn't know where him or the cousin. We didn't know where him or the motherfucking cousin. No, Vicky. I ain't lying. What? I said, Jazzy, what's going on? I called Jazzy phone. Theo, chill. Theo, mind your business.
What you mean?
Okay, well, you just want to make your father story. Go ahead, Victoria. Go ahead. Okay.
L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
No, this nigga, bitch. I would have whooped my cousin ass.
Oh, Karen.
We was looking
L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E. Love.
Chill with our
L-O-V-E.
This is what the fuck happened.
L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
even know the cousin.
Love now. L-O-V-E.
And I'm calling your motherfucker phone. I said, what the fuck? And he worried about the goddamn phone.
Oh, so that's why when I was calling your phone, bitch, you had like you couldn't answer when I
Couldn't
called
answer
you
the
on Instagram.
Come on now. L-O-V-E now.
That's what he did, guys.
They fucked.
If you
They
keep
fucked.
coming up tonight doing that, I'm gonna kick you out.
Vicky, they fucked.
L-O-V-E. Tap that ass.
After you give him that shit away.
And compromise on them. So even if you don't like them.
Are you losers still listening to Rascal? Are you guys still wasting your time? Go enjoy life and appreciate an orange, an apple, a strawberry, a train, a beautiful woman, anything. You losers, just give it up. You're wasting your fucking lives. He was getting some of that jazzy Gucci. When Oscar made Jazzy come, she said, hello? 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 That's the spot. Don't stop. That's the spot. Don't stop. Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
That sound like hot shit. So Oscar, if you see me, you gonna really be like that. Fine. You gonna what? That's so you was not interested in Jazzy. That's fucked up.
He left Jazzy at the house. Me and Jazzy was
Your cousin must have been pretty.
We didn't know where him or the cousin. We didn't know where him or the motherfucking cousin. No, big kid. I ain't lying. What? I said, Jazzy, what's going on? I called Jazzy phone. Theo, chill. Theo, mind your business. Okay, well, you just want to make your father story. Go ahead, Victoria. Go ahead. Okay.
L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
I want to hear them talk about what happened.
No, this nigga, bitch. I would have whooped my cousin ass. Bitch,
Oh, Karen.
we was looking
L-O-V-E.
L-O-V-E.
Love.
Chill with our
L-O-V-E.
chill with our
was calling your phone, bitch. You had like you couldn't answer when I asked you on Instagram.
Come on now. L-O-V-E now.
That's what he did, guys. Vicky, they fucked.
L-O-V-E. Stop that ass.
So you giving that shit away?
Isn't it a little early in the morning for all this argumentation? Okay, this is her audiobook.
I just thought you should be aware. Jeff wants to come up. Jeff, I don't know if you were there last night in the complaining room.
No, I wasn't there.
Good. You don't need to go through that. Is today Saturday? No, Friday. Oh, good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbos for B'nai Shalayim.
We didn't give you no pay cut, bitch. Shit just took a pay cut.
They also that they.
What's going on, Taco? You know, I actually have a taco business idea. It's called TaoTacos.com. Tao Taco, like the whole thing, the logo is the Tao sign. We just do a couple
Asian
tacos.
fusion?
It's Asian fusion tacos, but it's just tacos, you know, whatever.
Well, you know, like people think tacos can be simple, but you could really, if you do it in that Mexican style where it's on the corn flour, where it's on the corn tortilla, and you just put like perfect cut pieces of cooked meat on it, each one of the meats are a whole dish you got to make separately. You know, so it can actually be quite labor intensive.
No, I'm not saying it's not. It's just, it's a concept, not a reality, you know?
Like if you did, you know, like a Peking duck taco, you'd have to make the Peking duck perfect.
I mean,
and then put it on.
I know how complicated it is. There's many gourmet taco places, and they bust their fucking asses to get you that great product.
There's a place in New York City. Apparently, it's a chain. I didn't know it was, but it's called Los Tacos #1 or something. It's in Chelsea Market, and it used to be #1 on Yelp in like all of Manhattan.
I am from the house of rest. I lit the ship of Ra, advancing onwards to the heights of heaven. Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein Pita floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high. upon the firmament of new. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word, for I am Ra incarnate, Ephra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father, Timu, lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is a sanctuary of truth, and a God sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day. The desire of my heart realizes itself, is that of Pita when he createth. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word, therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, all light, all power, Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art.
Is it a girl or boy?
Please don't come up screaming.
I said a girl or boy.
Don't worry about it.
Oscar and Jazzy are having a baby. Mazel tov.
Yes, Republican.
What's up, Jefferson? What'd you say? What did he just say?
I said you're having a baby with Jazzy. Mazel tov.
Nigga, you missed the whole conversation, fool.
Can you talk with your normal voice?
They claim that I left with Jazzy's cousin.
Yes, because why are you doing it?
The girl know me. The girl know me.
Yeah, she was in there with him looking for you. She was there.
Who?
That girl you was with.
Bro, that is a lie. You guys can.
No, I'm saying the girl know me, like the girl that gave you my number.
I guess, obviously.
Yeah, she know you, Don. You can't even get your words out. When you get to work tomorrow today, ask them bitches who gave out my number today. We was in the club that night. Yeah,
That's crazy.
No, I just wanna know.
it was. You should have seen how they was.
She's Spanish or black?
Damn, come on, Dom. It's not that serious. Is it that serious that I got?
No, I just wanna know.
I know it wasn't gonna be this.
Hello?
Oh my God, there you go.
Hello?
Okay, I told you.
She said, "There you go." Hello.
Hello?
There you go.
Kick him.
That's when you get kicked out for real. His gay ass.
Everybody wants somebody kicked.
Nah,
His gay ass. Don't kick him out though. But when he get annoyed, start playing the music, yeah, kick that bitch out.
Hello? Hello?
Shut the fuck up.
That's why you got to be weird. There's a one girl, she had me crying there. She come in the room, so I was like, what's going on here? She had me laughing. What's going on here? We was in the middle of a begging session. She said, excuse me, what's going on here?
Hey, Ray, what's up, Ray? We couldn't get ready to come to Miami.
Ray, you coming?
That's chicken.
We about to turn up. We about to turn the fuck up again.
You know Chicken George, related to King Kunta Kinte.
I will bring Kool-Aid for chicken.
You
We're
know,
gonna bring
Jeff-
some Kool-Aid
Hey,
and fried chicken for chicken. No, Kool-Aid, he a pole.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
We can get more boy chicken some pussy in Miami. What you mean?
After you done with the chicken and the thigh, only thing left to do is stick your bone in that greasy box.
Right, for real.
You know Jefferson bought
Social the apple
the clubhouse.
So retarded ass back to the basement.
You hear me?
Hello?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he bought the clubhouse. Now you can watch him on Instagram or some shit. Follow him.
Oh, so Jefferson got it going the fuck on. He ain't got shit going on, retarded ass.
He was just what you were just running for, trying to run for in Chicago, Jeff.
Committeeman of the 45th Ward.
But he retarded. Who gives a fuck? He's retarded. Y'all can't tell me.
He's retarded. He's a retarded smart
But he's
man.
very
Rain
retarded person.
He ran away from Diego.
He retarded. He retarded. It's crazy.
Have you ever seen Rain Man?
I seen radio. The fuck?
Never go full retard.
Radio.
Okay, just think about radio passing all the algebra tests and making straight A's.
Radio Raheem.
That was Rain Man.
I remember you was talking about Radio Raheem. 2 slices.
Who the fuck is Radio Raheem?
It's Spike Lee movie.
Spike Lee movie. We was just talking about that. Radio Raheem got killed by the police. It was a George Floyd moment.
Oh Lord!
Spike Lee, he brought back that shit 20 years
He
ago.
predicted George Floyd's death.
Didn't he? He brought forth all the real issues that we deal with. Black Radio Raheem got killed. What else happened? Ossie Davis kept sending that boy for Miller highlights.
They ruined that man's pizza business.
Stop talking like that, bitch. And Mookie was no, you don't want him in here, so let his retarded ass out. I'm going on mute. Stop that, bitch. Nah, y'all go ahead. That's not the thing. No, keep talking. So me and Jefferson was talking about an old school movie, one some of the first black films that was the shit. Spike Lee dropped that.
What was it called? So I can look.
Do the right. It's called Do the Right. Do the Right Thing.
Do the right thing, yeah.
Do the right thing.
I don't really like Do the Right Thing. Or what's that other Spike Lee movie?
Mo Better Blue.
Nah, the other one. With the kids.
New Jack City.
Nah, dude.
King of New York.
Nah, with the kids and shit, the family. It's one of his famous movies.
King of New York with Christopher Walken.
Nah, dude, with the kids and the family.
Okay, he did Do the Right Thing.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
He did Malcolm X. He did.
A man that stands for anything will fall for anything.
He did Black Klansman. He did She's Gotta Have It. He did Bamboozle, The Five Blood, School Days, High and Low,
School Days with the Z.
Crooklyn,
Crooklyn.
Jungle Fever,
What about Crooklyn? I ain't really
25th
like Crooklyn.
Album,
Yeah.
He's Got Game,
Damn.
Summer of Sam.
Damn.
Oh shit, this nigga is that nigga,
I didn't know
man.
he had all those.
Yes, sir. This was Black Spike Lee movie.
Free money. And he had to pay his ex-wife half of every penny he ever earned.
Ain't that some shit?
Damn, that's crazy.
She didn't make a single one of them movies, but she got paid out on them.
I think he did the Huey P. Newton movie.
Come on, don't start that shit, bro.
Do you like?
Weird circle.
Do you like Huey P. Lewis on the news?
Hey,
Huey P. Newton.
come on, bro.
Do you like Huey P. Lewis on the news?
nigga just wants to say the N-word. I think that's what it is.
Okay, who is that? Cause y'all ain't about it. They go. Cause I'm finna start sending niggas on flights.
Hello?
You have to use your other page. Hello?
Pick up.
Where your other page? Get your other phone ready, Jefferson.
You got about 10 on now.
Yeah, line them bitches up. Get them ready.
He like, Ray, you can't get rid of that nigga.
Yeah, you're gonna have to use them all today. Log on in.
How many pages y'all done kicked out?
I ain't kicked nobody. The only person shooting is
I'm talking about Edmund.
Just one account.
Oh, yeah, they should just kick
Oh, there you go. You think of normal voice.
Oh, I did. I kicked Shakira out for jumping in cash and you hate ISO.
I'm screaming, you keep out so damn fast.
Gave her a green bean, and when she opened up her mouth and started getting in that, bitch, you gone. She should have stayed out them people business. You know.
That's a clown house assassination.
She told you to mind your own business. I know she taught you.
Drive by, bitch.
Shut up.
This is crazy out here, boy.
Hello?
I thought today was Sunday, Miss Clark.
Jefferson, it ain't Sunday yet. Keep Jefferson out. Keep acting retarded, Jefferson.
Well, you think I'm acting retarded? I'm just acting normal.
Fuck a friend.
Damn, Oscar.
Can someone try to be funny on this app and have a sense of humor?
Damn, Oscar, you ain't have to leave everybody behind in Miami. You got the Miami got brand new, did you?
Come on.
Yeah, still. He said that shit.
No, I didn't. I don't know what y'all heard, but you got it wrong.
I don't know. Let me call Jazzy and get the real story. Y'all, hold on. I'm going to stream her conversation and how she
Hello?
I got content, y'all. Big up.
Don't do it, Lord.
She said, don't do it.
Hey, Dad.
No, we're going to take this on Cray stage. I'm sure I can get 1,000. I'm sure I'm going to have 1,000 people in his room. Yeah, we got to
figure it out still now.
Now, Craig going to the WAC 100 meetup.
Is he?
Yeah, Craig just a gay boy who don't bang no more.
Oh, where he's having a meetup?
Craig said he crib.
Yeah.
Where he having his meetup at?
Florida.
Oh, nice.
When?
June 29th.
What?
Tickets are $1,000 a piece.
You lying.
I'm selling them. I got a discounted at $6.50 a piece. If you want to pop at WAC 100, I got you.
The last video I saw, they was slinging WAC 100 ass, his little midget ass all over motherfucking New York. No.
How tall is he?
About 5'0".
No, he 4 foot. He 4 foot 11. He a black leprechaun. It's a leprechaun.
Shut the fuck up.
Hello?
I thought he was tall.
Girl,
Jefferson. Talk in your real voice, Jefferson.
He 4'11".
I'm finna Google him.
Girl, I saw that video of them niggas on his ass. WAC 100. That was
6 feet 4.
Girl, he about a midget. Promise.
That's why he act like that.
That's why he got a little man syndrome.
Yeah, he got Napoleonic complex.
Oh my God,
and he run his rooms like he run.
Hello? Hey, Victorious, can you send me Jazzy's telephone number so I can call her and live stream her to the room?
Yeah.
What the fuck is he talking about? Jazzy would hate that.
Yeah, let me call Jazzy
You're
up.
gonna have to wake up, Jazzy. Hold on.
Jazzy hates that story.
He said it.
rightfully so.
Look at idiot.
You know that?
I'm gonna call her up and say hello.
Shut up, Jefferson.
Let me
Hello
get
to
Jazzy
the
number.
Jazzy shit.
Let me get Jazzy number.
Yeah, let's call her up. Hello?
We have to find out what happened.
Talk in your regular voice.
This is my regular voice.
No.
Hello?
No.
Hello?
you like that. Back to back.
They want some, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tap that ass.
Shut up.
You're crazy. Crazy. Lord, I can't wait. Mark Out should be coming in with his music.
With his crew.
He gonna bring his whole crew with him.
His whole crew.
And everybody gonna get kicked out.
Don't say that, Vicky. They ain't bothering you.
I'm kicking everybody out. Mark Out is going first.
They ain't even
Give me Jazzy's number.
They ain't even do that last time.
Let's call Jazzy.
I'm marked out. Miss Parker, I got a song for you. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
That's you. John, I got a song for you. You want to hear it? That's how I'm marked out. I'm marked out. That bitch crazy.
He came in my room last night on that bullshit. Hey, Oscar, I'm really from Charlotte, but
Oh my God, you sound just racist.
I killed a lot of people, Oscar. I killed a lot of people.
I'm from 60 Crib. No bullshit.
I'm a crip, but I started the blood.
I went to school with Wack. Y'all know Bishop.
I knew Wack from back in the day.
Bishop.
Like we give a fuck. Some people obsessed with Wack 100.
When I first met Bishop, she was trying to fuck me. Yo.
I'm just fat.
That cat ain't gonna mark out. That damn Mark Out is a handful.
Victoria, she tried to fuck me.
Yeah, he's stupid. She gave me $1,000.
She gave me $1,000.
That bitch be lying on me. Nigga lying on me. Mark Out, why you lying on me?
$100.
He done dogged Serena so bad. Shit, where she at?
What are we waiting for? Let's call Jazzy.
Yeah, he ready to call Jazzy. We gonna find out what the fuck happened.
We want to talk about the baby you two are going to have, the family that you'll create. L-O-V-E.
L-O-V-E.
L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
Hey, Mom.
I don't know what you're talking about, bitch.
Black Mamba.
What the hell do?
What
Did you do the doo-doo with hoodoo?
Huh?
Okie doke.
What did y'all do at the hotel,
Who?
Okie doke. They did the okie doke.
Just with that shut
I
up.
wasn't with Jazzy cousin.
Yes, you was. Y'all was at the first. Y'all went to the motherfucking casino. And then where did y'all go after you left the casino?
They made some whoopee.
Bro, why the fuck every time I talk? It's crazy.
Hello?
Cause he annoying as fuck.
Let's call Jazzy and figure this out.
Yeah, I think we need to call
I start mute you again.
And
Yeah.
then I heard that the cousin came back home with no drawers.
Oh my God! What the fuck? Oscar!
And she was with Oscar.
How old is this poor young girl?
She's 18.
Oh my God!
She can't even buy you a drink.
You gonna learn today, Oscar. You won't be in Florida without meeting no motherfucker.
Man, Oscar, let me find out you out here robbing the cradle, man. That shit diabolical. Nah, man. That bitch can't even buy you a drink.
Man, they're gonna be a clown house lynching.
That's not what I heard. I heard that the girl came back broke. Oscar took
saying 28. That's, if you ask me, that shit is nasty. But, you know, hey, I'm going on me.
The bar she came and she had Miami money.
What chicken trying to say?
Bald-headed, old shit.
Chicken George.
What you got to say, chicken go?
Chicken, tell him what happened. Chicken right?
Hey, God, huh?
Mama?
I got time point number 2.
What? Oh, Lord. Wait a minute now.
I got it for chicken.
Oh, my God.
I got it for chicken.
Damn. She ain't by the phone right now.
Damn.
No.
Nah, I got it. He got a number for me, man.
Vicky.
What's up, Mama?
What it do? What it is?
Chillin'.
Mama, go ahead. Mama XL.
I can't shit you say. I'm saying with your chest.
Please.
I can't shit you say.
Hello?
You got some stuff in your throat.
Let's call Jazzy. Let's call Jazzy.
God damn, who the fuck is this loud mouth motherfucker yelling? God damn.
Bro.
They retarded friend and you said,
God damn, shut up, bitch.
Hello?
he said hello.
Hello?
Let's call Jazzy and figure out the mystery of the 18-year-old coochie with the missing pantalones.
Man, where the fuck y'all find these dyslexic ass squirrels?
That's Republican.
I don't give a fuck if it was a Democrat.
Hey, T-Bill, what's up, T-Bill?
That's it, Mama. Okay, T-Bill.
Hello?
He down there chilling.
Put Jazzy's number in the chat so I can call her and ask her.
How much you just gonna look for on the app? We don't know what's
Hello?
right from him. And they gonna look for him.
Hello?
And why you didn't keep your other phone in there since you started one? What you came back in here for?
Miss Parker.
Hello?
Must couldn't get no people because you a real life retard.
Never go for retard.
Hey, Victoria.
Yes.
So listen though, so boom.
Because you hate.
I'm scrolling on my Instagram and shit, and I go back to my history on my search bar.
Hello?
And I'm looking, I'm like, yo, I've never seen a female with an Adam's apple. You know me?
Michelle Obama. Barack Obama.
With an Adam's apple before.
Miss Michelle Obama.
So now it's like,
Then that's not no fucking female.
that's not,
That's trans.
There we go.
Tranny.
If it walk like a duck and it talk like a duck, and this generation is a fucking cow.
If it got a dick.
Alright, so listen, gang. PTR this picture.
Let me see. I can she sound like a woman though.
PTR, mama.
He gonna bring his whole crew with him. And everybody gonna get kicked out. Kicking everybody out. Mark out is going first. They ain't even do that.
Number.
They ain't even do that last time.
Let's call Jazzy.
I'm marked out. Miss Parker, I got a song for you. You wanna hear it? Yeah. That's him. Don, I got a song for you. You wanna hear it? That's how I'm marked out. I'm marked out.
Hey, Terry.
have assumed a character beyond your strength, you have played a poor figure in that, and neglected one that is within your powers. Fellow, you have come to blows at home with a slave. You have turned the household upside down and thrown the neighborhood into confusion. Do you come to me then with airs of assumed modesty? Do you sit down like a sage and criticize my explanation of the readings and whatever babble you say has come into my head? Have you come full of envy and dejected because nothing is sent you from home, and while the discussion is going on, do you sit brooding on nothing but how your father or your brother are disposed towards you? What are they saying about me here? About me there? At this moment, they imagine I am making progress and saying he will return perfectly omniscient. I wish I could become omniscient before I return, but that would be very troublesome. No one sends me anything. The baths at Nicopolis are dirty. Things are wretched at home and wretched here. Then they say nobody is any the better for the school. Who comes to the school with a sincere wish to learn, to submit his principles to correction and himself to treatment? Who, to gain a sense of his wants? Why then be surprised if you carry home from the school exactly what you bring into it?
These bitches already done told you I'm pretty as fuck and you're bad. That's all you can do is troll because you ain't got nothing else to do.
Hey, look, though, this me,
Hello? Handling her business. That baby happy as a bitch. I'm sorry.
Hey, George, this me. That's why I thought that was me posted. Okay, this me,
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Hello?
Look like Godzilla.
Let's call Jazzy.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Her boys, they back on it again, boy.
She look, she playing with herself.
I'm pretty. I'm not worried about what you're talking about.
Cash me outside, girl.
She got furniture in her house and everything.
Yeah, 3 different.
Hello? Why you keep muting me? Don't mute me now. Hello? L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
I don't know what to say about it.
Hello?
You can't say
Let's call Jazzy.
I can't. The baby got everything. She got one of them tutu skirts for every age.
Bro, the girl got fishnets on with
the baby got a tutu skirt for every age. When them little girls got
pop that pussy. Pop that ass. Tap that ass.
Beyonce wear knitted tights and silk tights and stuff. So what did you say?
She's a demon. She's a Satanist.
But we said, why is a man worried about what a female wears? Do a man want to put on what a female wears?
No, Jay-Z. Jay-Z's a demon. Jay-Z's a Luciferian, a Satanist.
If I can't do that, I'll go to Victoria.
Yeah, I man, look at this baby hair all moisturized.
about the baby.
Epictetus, I have often come desiring to hear you speak, and you have never given me any answer. Now, if possible, I entreat you say something to me. Is there, do you think, with pride Epictetus an art of speaking as of other things? If it is to be done skillfully and with profit to the hearer, yes. And are all profited by what they hear, or only some among them? So that it seems there is an art of hearing as well as of speaking. To make a statue needs skill. To view a statue aright needs skill also, admitted. And I think all will allow that one who proposes to hear philosophers speak needs a considerable training in hearing. Is that not so? Then tell me, on what subject are you able to hear me? Why on good and evil? The good and evil of what? A horse, an ox? No, of a man. Do we know then what man is? What his nature is? That is the idea we have of him. And are our ears practiced in any degree on the subject? Nay, do you understand what nature is? Can you follow me in any degree when I say that I shall have to use demonstration? Do you understand what demonstration is? What true or false is, must I drive you to philosophy? Show me what good I am to do by discoursing with, rouse my desire to do so. The sight of the pasture it loves stirs in the sheep the desire to feed. Shoot a stone or a bit of bread and it remains unmoved. Thus we must also have certain natural desires, and one that moves us to speak when we find a listener that is worth his salt, one that himself stirs the spirit. But if he sits by like a stone or a tuft of grass, how can he rouse a man's desire? Then you will say nothing to me.
Watch what protein shakes do to your body.
This is a protein drink.
Mushy
Almond butter.
Mushy!
I can
Good
only tell you
salad!
this, that one who knows not who he is and to what end he was born, what kind of world this is, and with whom he is associated therein, one who cannot distinguish good and evil, beauty and foulness, truth and falsehood, will never follow reason in shaping his desires and impulses, and repulsions, nor yet in a sense denial or suspension of judgment, but will in one word go about deaf and blind, thinking himself to be somewhat, and then he is in truth of no account. Is there anything new in all this? Is not this ignorance the cause of all the mistakes and mischances of men since the human race began? This is all I have to say to you, and even this against the grain. Why? Because you have not stirred my spirit, for what can I see in you to stir me? As a spirited horse will stir a judge of horses? Your body that you maltreat, your dress that is luxurious, your behavior, your look, nothing whatever. When you want to hear a philosopher, do not say you say nothing to me. Only show yourself worthy or fit to hear, and then you will see how you will move the speaker. Now, when you see brothers apparently good friends and living in accord, do not immediately pronounce anything upon their friendship, though they should affirm it with an oath, though they should declare for us to live apart is a thing impossible. For the heart of a bad man is faithless, unprincipled, inconstant. Now, overpowered by one impression, now by another, ask not the usual questions. Were they born of the same parents, reared together and under the same tutor? But ask this only, in what they place their real interest, whether in outward things or in the will. If in outward things, call them not friends, any more than faithful, constant, brave, or free. Call them not even human beings if you have any sense. But should you hear that these men hold the good to lie only in the will, only in rightly dealing with the things of sense, take no more trouble to inquire whether they are father and son or brothers or comrades of long standing, but sure of this one thing, pronounce as boldly that they are friends as that they are faithful and just. For where else can friendship be found than where modesty is, where there is an interchange of things fair and honest, and of such only? No man can rob us of our will, no man can lord it over that. When disease and death overtake me, I would fain be found engaged in the task of liberating mine own will from the assaults of passion, from hindrance, from resentment, from slavery. Thus would I fain be found employed, so that I may say to God, have I in aught transgressed thy commands? Have I in aught perverted the faculties, the senses, the natural principles that thou didst give me? Have I ever blamed thee or found fault with thine administration? When it was thy good pleasure, I fell sick, and so did other men, but my will consented. Because it was thy pleasure, I became poor, but my heart rejoiced. No power in the state was mine, because thou wouldst not such power I never desired. Hast thou ever seen me of more doleful countenance? On that account have I not ever drawn nigh unto thee with cheerful look, waiting upon thy commands, attentive to thy signals. Wilt thou that I now depart from the great assembly of men? I go, I give thee all thanks that thou hast deemed me worthy to take part with thee in this assembly, to behold thy works, to comprehend this thine administration. Such I were the subject of my thoughts, my pen, my study, when death overtakes me. Seemeth it nothing to you, never to accuse, never to blame, either good or man, to wherever the same countenance in going forth as in coming in?
This was the secret of Socrates, yet he never said that he knew or taught anything. Who amongst you makes this aim? Were it indeed so, you would gladly endure sickness, hunger, aye, death itself. How are we constituted by nature, to be free, to be noble, to be modest? For what other living thing is capable of
I'm gonna keep it to you.
blushing or of feeling the impression of shame, and to subordinate pleasure to the ends for which nature designed us, as a handmaid and a minister, in order to call forth our activity, in order to keep us constant to the path prescribed by nature. The husband deals with land, the physicians and trainers with the body, the wise man with his own mind. Which of us does not admire what Lycurgus the Spartan did? The young citizen had put out his eye and been handed over to him by the people to be punished at his own discretion. Lycurgus abstained from all vengeance, but on the contrary instructed him and made a good man of him. Producing him in the public, in the theatre, he said to the astonished Spartans, I received this young man at your hands full of violence and wanton insolence. I restore him to you in his right mind and fit to serve his country. A money changer may not reject Caesar's coin, nor may the seller of herbs, but must, when once the coin is shown, deliver what is sold for it, whether he will or no. So is it also with the soul. Once the good appears, it attracts towards itself, evil repels. But a clear and certain impression of the good the soul will never reject any more than men do Caesar's coin, and this hangs every impulse alike of man and God. Yes, 'twas common sense, as Epictetus replied, as that may be called a common ear which distinguishes only sounds, while that which distinguishes musical notes is not common, but produced by training. So there are certain things which men not entirely perverted see by the natural principle common to all. Such a constitution of the mind is called common sense. Canst thou judge men? Then make us imitators of thyself, as Socrates did. Do this, do not do that, else will I cast thee into prison. This is not governing men like reasonable creatures. Say rather, as God hath ordained, so do, else thou wilt suffer chastisement and loss. Askest thou what lost? None other than this: to have left undone what thou shouldst have done, to have lost the faithfulness, the reverence, the modesty that is in thee. Greater loss than this seek not to find. His son is dead. What has happened? His son is dead. Nothing more, nothing. His ship is lost. What has happened? His ship is lost. He has been haled to prison. What has happened? He has been haled to prison. But that any of these things are misfortunes to him is an addition with every one makes of his own. But you say God is unjust in this way. Why? For having given thee endurance and greatness of soul, for having made such things to be no evils, for placing happiness within thy reach even when enduring them, for opening unto thee a door when things make not for thy good. Depart, my friend, and find no fault. You are sailing to Rome, and you tell me to obtain the post of governor of Gnosis. You are not content to stay at home with the honors you had before. You want something on a larger scale and more conspicuous. But when did you ever undertake a voyage for the purpose of reviewing your own principles and getting rid of any of them that proved unsound? Whom did you ever visit for that object? What time did you ever set yourself for that? What age run over the times of your life by yourself, if you are ashamed before me? Did you examine your principles when a boy? Did you not do everything just as you do now? When you were a stripling, attending the school of oratory and practicing the art yourself, what did you ever imagine you lacked? And when you were a young man, entered upon public life, and were pleading causes and making a name, who any longer seemed equal to you? And at what moment would you have endured another examining your principles and proving that they were unsound? What then am I to say to you? Help me in this matter. You cry, for that I have no rule, and neither did you, if that was your object. Come to me as a philosopher, but as you might have gone to an herb saddler or a cobbler. What do philosophers have rules for then? Why, that whatever may betide, our ruling faculty may be as nature would have it, and so remain. Think you this a small matter? Not so, but the greatest thing there is. Well, does it need but a short time? Can it be grasped by a passer-by? Grasp it if you can. then you will say, yes, I met Epictetus. Just as you might a statue or a monument, you saw me, that is all. But the man who meets a man is one who learns the other's mind and lets him see his in return. Then my mind, show me yours, and then go and say that you met me. Let us try each other. If I have any wrong principle, rid me of it. If you have, out with it. That is what meeting a philosopher means. Not so. You think this is only a flying visit. While we are hiring the ship, we can see Epictetus too. Let us see what he has to say, then on leaving you cry out on Epictetus for a worthless fellow, provincial and barbarous of speech. What else indeed did you come to judge of? Whether you will or not, you are poorer than I. What then do I lack? What you have not, constancy of mind, such as nature would have it be. Tranquility. Patron or no patron, what care I? But you do care. I am richer than you. I am not racked with anxiety as to what Caesar may think of me. Flatter none on that account. This is what I have instead of vessels of gold and silver. Your vessels may be of gold, but your reason, your principles, your accepted views, your inclinations, your desires are of earthenware. To you all you have seems small, to me all I have seems great. Your desire is insatiable, mine is satisfied. See children thrusting their hands into a narrow-necked jar, striving to pull out the nuts and figs it contains. They fill the land, they cannot pull it out again, and then they fall to tears, let go a few of them. And then you can draw out the rest, you too, let your desire go. Covet not many things, and you will obtain. Pittacus, wronged by one whom he had it in his power to punish, let him go free, saying, forgiveness is better than revenge. The one shows native gentleness, the other savagery. My brother ought not to have treated me thus, true, but he must see to that. However he may treat me, I must deal rightly by him. This is what lies with me, what none can hinder. Nevertheless, a man should also be prepared to be sufficient unto himself, to dwell with himself alone, even as God dwells with himself alone, shares his repose with none, and considers the nature of his own administration, intent upon such thoughts as are meet unto himself. So should we also be able to converse with ourselves, to need none else beside, to sigh for no distraction, to bend our thoughts upon the divine administration, and how we stand related to all us, to observe how human accidents touched us of old, and how they touch us now, what things they are that still have power to hurt us, and how they may be cured or removed to perfect what needs perfecting, as reason would direct. The man has frequent intercourse with others, either in the way of conversation, entertainment, or simple familiarity. He must either become like them or change them to his own fashion. A live coal placed next to a dead one will either kindle that or be quenched by it. Such being the risk, it is well to be cautious in admitting intimacies of this sort, remembering that one cannot rub shoulders with a soot-stained man without sharing the soot oneself. What will you do, supposing the talk turns on gladiators, or horses, or prize fighters, or what is worse, on persons, condemning this and that, approving the others? Or suppose a man sneers or jeers or shows a malignant temper. Has any among us the skill of the lute player, who knows at the first touch which strings are out of tune and sets the instrument right? Has any of you such a power as Socrates had in all his intercourse with men, of winning them over to his own convictions? Nay, but you must needs be swayed hither and thither by the uninstructed. How comes it then that they prove so much stronger than you? Because they speak from the fullness of the heart. Their low, corrupt views are their real convictions, whereas your fine sentiments are but from the lips outwards. That is why they are so nerveless and dead. It turns one's stomach to listen to your exaltations and hear of your miserable virtue, that you prate up and down. Thus it is that the vulgar prove too strong for you. Everywhere strength, everywhere victory waits your conviction. In general, any methods of discipline applied to the body which tend to modify its desires or repulsions are good for ascetic ends, but if done for display, They betray at once a man who keeps an eye on an outward show, who has an ulterior purpose and is looking for spectators to shout, "Oh, what a great man!" This is why Apollonius so well said, "If you are bent upon a little private discipline, wait till you are choking with heat some day, and take a mouthful of cold water and spit it out again and tell no man. Study how to give as one that is sick, that thou mayest hereafter give as one that is whole. Fast, drink water, only abstain altogether from desire, that thou mayest hereafter conform thy desire to reason. Thou wouldst do good unto men, then show them by thine own example what kind of men philosophy can make, and cease from foolish trifling. Eating, do good to them that eat with thee, drinking to them that drink with thee, yield unto all, give way, and bear with them. Thou shalt thou do them good, but vent not upon them thine own evil humor. Even as bad actors cannot sing alone, but only in chorus, so some cannot walk alone. Man, if thou art aught, strive to walk alone, and hold converse with thyself, instead of skulking in the chorus. At length think, look around thee, bestir thyself, that thou mayest know thou art. You would fain be victor at the Olympic Games, you say. Yes, but weigh the conditions, weigh the consequences then, and then only lay to your hand. If it be for your profit, you must live by rules, submit to diet, abstain from dainty meats, exercise your body perforce at stated hours. In heat or in cold, drink no cold water, nor it may be wine. In a word, you must surrender yourself wholly to your trainer as though to a physician. Then in the hour of contest, you will have to delve the ground. It may chance dislocate an arm, sprain an ankle, go down abundance of yellow sand. Be scourged with the whip, and with all this sometimes lose the victory. Count the cost, and then, if your desire still holds, try the wrestler's life. Else let me tell you that you will be behaving like a pack of children playing now at wrestlers, now at gladiators, presently falling to trumpeting and on to stage playing. And the fancy takes them for what they have seen. And you are even the same, wrestler, gladiator, philosopher, orator, all by turns, and none of them with your whole soul. Like an ape, you mimic what you see, to one thing constant never. The thing that is familiar charms no more. This is because you never undertook aught with due consideration, nor after strictly testing and viewing it from every side. No, your choice was thoughtless. The glow of your desire had waxed cold. Friend, bethink you first what it is that you would do, and then what your own nature is able to bear. Would you be a wrestler? Consider your shoulders, your thighs, your loins. Not all men are formed to the same end. Think you to be a philosopher while acting as you do? Think you can go on thus eating, thus drinking, giving way in like manner to wrath and to displeasure? Nay, you must watch, you must labor, overcome certain desires. Quit your familiar friends, submit to be despised by your slave, to be held in derision by them that meet you, to take the lower place in all things, in office, in positions of authority, in courts of law. Weigh these things fully, and then, if you will, lay to your hand, if as the price of these things you would gain freedom, tranquility, and passionless serenity. He that hath no musical instruction is a child in music. He that hath no letters is a child in learning. He that is untaught is a child in life. Can any profit be derived from these men? Aye, from all. What, even from a reveler? Why, tell me what profit a wrestler gains from him who exercises him beforehand. The very greatest. He trains me in the practice of endurance, of controlling my temper, of gentle ways. You deny it. What? The man who lays hold of my neck and disciplines loins and shoulders does me good, while he that trains me to keep my temper does me none. This is what it means that knowing how to gain advantage from men is my neighbor bad. Bad to himself, but good to me. He brings my good temper, my gentleness into play. Is my father bad? Bad to himself, but good to me. This is the rod of Hermes. Touch what you will with it, they say, and it becomes gold. Nay, but bring what you will, and I will transmute it into good. Bring sickness, bring death, bring poverty, and reproach, bring trial for life. All these things through the rod of Hermes shall be turned to profit. Till then, these sound opinions have taken firm root in you, and you have gained a measure of strength for your security. I counsel you to be cautious in associating with the uninstructed, else whatever impressions you receive upon the tablets of your mind in the school will day by day melt and disappear. wax in the sun, withdraw then somewhere far from the sun while you have these waxen sentiments. We must approach this matter in a different way. It is great and mystical. It is no common thing, nor given to every man. Wisdom alone, it may be, will not suffice for the care of youth. A man needs also a certain measure of readiness and aptitude for the office, aye, and certain bodily qualities. And above all, to be counselled of God himself to undertake this post, even as he counselled Socrates to fill the post of one who confutes error, signing to Diogenes the royal office of high reproof, and to Zeno that of positive instruction. Whereas you would fain set up for a physician provided with nothing but drugs, where and how they should be applied you neither know nor care. If what charms you is nothing but abstract principles, sit down and turn them over quietly in your mind. But never dub yourself a philosopher, nor suffer others to call you so. Rather say, he is in error for my desire.
I'm gonna give away this incredible $4,000. Wait, no, not this one. This incredible.
The golden sayings of Epictetus. Are these the only works of providence in us? Would words suffice to praise or set them forth? Had we but understanding, should we ever cease hymning and blessing the divine power, both openly and in secret, and telling of his gracious gifts? Whether or plowing or eating, should we not sing the hymn to God? Great is God, for that he hath given instruments to till the ground withal. Great is God, for that he hath given us hands, and the power of swallowing and digesting, of unconsciously growing and breathing while we sleep. Thus should we ever have sung, yea, and this, the grandest and divinest hymn of all. Great is God, for that he hath given us a mind to apprehend these things, and duly to use them. What then? Seeing that most of you are blinded, should there not be some one to fill this place, and sing the hymn to God on behalf of all men? What else can I, that am old and lame, do but sing to God? Were I a nightingale, I should do after the manner of a nightingale. Were I a swan, I should do after the manner of a swan. But now, since I am a reasonable being, I must sing to God. That is my work, I do it, nor will I desert this my post, as long as it is granted me to hold it. And upon you, too, I call to join in this self-same hymn. How then do men act? As though one returning to his country who had sojourned for the night in a fair inn should be so captivated thereby as to take up his abode there. Friend, thou hast forgotten thine intention. This was not thy destination, but only lay on the way thither. Nay, but it is a proper place, and how many more of the sort there be, only to pass through upon thy way. Thy purpose was to return to thy country, to relieve the kinsmen's fears for thee, thyself to discharge the duties of a citizen, to marry a wife, to beget offspring, and to fill the appointed round of office. Thou didst not come to choose out what places are most pleasant, but rather to return to that wherein thou wast born, and where thou wert appointed to be a citizen. Try to enjoy the great festival of life with other men. But I have one whom I must please, to whom I must be subject, whom I must obey, God, and those who come next to him. He hath entrusted me with myself, he hath made my will subject to myself alone, and given me rules for the right use thereof. Rufus used to say, if you have leisure to praise me, what I say is not. In truth, he spoke in such wise that each of us who sat there thought that someone had accused him to Rufus, so surely did he lay his finger on the very deeds we did, so surely display the faults of each before his very eyes. But what saith God? Had it been possible, Epictetus, I would have made both that body of thine and thy possessions free and unimpeded, but as it is, be not deceived. It is not thine own, it is but finely tempered clay. Since then this I could not do, I have given thee a portion of myself and the power of desiring and declining and of pursuing and avoiding. In a word, the power of dealing with the things of sense. And if thou neglect not this, but place all that thou hast therein, thou shalt never be let or hindered, thou shalt never lament, thou shalt not blame or flatter any. What then seemeth this to thee a little thing? God forbid. Be content then therewith, and so I pray the gods. What saith Antisthenes? Hast thou never heard? It is a kingly thing, Osiris, to do well and to be evil spoken of. Ay, but to debase myself thus were unworthy of me. That said, Epictetus, is for you to consider, not for me. You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself, for men sell themselves at various prices. This was why, when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "Appear by all means." And when Florus inquired, "But why do not you appear?" he answered, "Because I do not even consider the question." For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions and to reckon up the value of external things is not far from forgetting what manner of man he is. Why, what is it that you ask me? Is death preferable or life? I reply life. Pain or pleasure? I reply pleasure. Well, but if I do not act, I shall lose my head. Then go and act, but for my part I will not act. Why? Because you think yourself but one among the many threads which make up the texture of the doublet. You should aim at being like men in general, just as your thread has no ambition either to be anything distinguished compared with the other threads. But I desire to be the pebble, that small and shining part, which makes the rest seem fair and beautiful. Why then do you bid me become even as the multitude? Then were I no longer the purple. If a man could be thoroughly penetrated as he ought with this thought that we are all in an especial manner sprung from God, and that God is the father of men as well as of gods, full surely he would never conceive aught ignoble or base of himself, whereas if Caesar were to adopt you, your haughty looks would be intolerable. Will you not be elated at knowing that you are the Son of God? Now, however, it is not so with us, but seeing that in our birth these two things are commingled, the body which we share with the animals, and the reason and thought which we share with the gods. Many decline towards this unhappy kinship with the dead, few rise to the blessed kinship with the divine. Since then every one must deal with each thing according to the view which he forms about it. Those few who hold that they are born for fidelity, modesty, and unerring sureness in dealing with the things of sense, never conceive aught base or ignoble of themselves, but the multitude the contrary. Why, what am I, a wretched human creature with this miserable flesh of mine? Miserable indeed, but you have something better than the paltry flesh of yours. Why then cling to the one and neglect the other? Thou art but a poor soul laden with a lifeless body. The other day I had an iron lamp placed beside my household gods. I heard a noise at the door, and hastening down found my lamp carried off. I reflected that the culprit was in no very strange case. "Tomorrow, my friend," I said, "you will find an earthenware lamp, for a man can only lose what he has." The reason why I lost my lamp was that the thief was superior to me in vigilance. He paid, however, this price for the lamp, that in exchange for it he hastened to become a thief, in exchange for it to become faithless. If we were as intent upon our own business as the old fellows at Rome are upon what interests them, we too might perhaps accomplish something. I know a man older than I am, now superintendent of the corn market at Rome, and I remember when he passed through this place on his way back from exile, what an account he gave me of his former life, declaring that for future, once home again, his only care should be to pass his remaining years in quiet and tranquility. For how few years have I left, he cried. That I said you will not do. But the moment the scent of Rome is in your nostrils, you will forget it all, and if you can but gain admission to court, you will be glad enough to elbow your way in, and thank God for it. Epictetus, he replied, if you ever find me setting as much as 1 foot within the court, think what you will of me. Well, as it was, what did he do ere ever he entered the city? He was met by dispatch from the emperor. He took it and forgot the whole of his resolutions. From that moment he has been piling one thing upon another. I should like to be beside him to remind him of what he said when passing this way, and to add how much better a prophet I am than you. What then? Do I say man is not made for an active life? Far from it, but there is a great difference between other men's occupations and ours. A glance at theirs will make it clear to you. All day long they do nothing but calculate, contrive, consult how to wring their profit out of foodstuffs, farm plots, and the like. Whereas I entreat you to learn what the administration of the world is, and what place it being endowed with reason holds therein, to consider what you are yourself, and wherein your good and evil consists. A man asked me to write to Rome on his behalf, who, as most people thought, had met with misfortune, for having been before wealthy and distinguished, he had afterwards lost all and was living here. So I wrote about him in a humble style. He, however, on reading the letter, returned it to me with the words, I asked for your help, not for your pity. No evil has happened unto me. True instruction is this, to learn to wish that each thing should come to pass as it does. And how does it come to pass? As the disposer has disposed it. Now he has disposed that there should be summer and winter, and plenty and dearth, and vice and virtue, and all such opposites for the harmony of the whole. Have this thought ever present with thee, when thou losest any outward thing, what thou gainest in its stead, and if this be the more precious, say not, I have suffered loss. Concerning the gods, there are who deny the very existence of the Godhead. Others say that it exists, but neither bestirs nor concerns itself, nor has forethought for anything. Third party attribute to it existence and forethought, but only for great and heavenly matters, not for anything that is on earth. A fourth party admit things on earth as well as in heaven, but only in general, and not with respect to each individual. A fifth of whom were Ulysses and Socrates, are those that cry, I move not without thy knowledge. Considering all these things, the good and true man submits his judgment to him that administers the universe, even as good citizens, to the law of the state. And he that is being instructed should come thus minded, how may I in all things follow the gods? And how may I satisfied with the divine administration? And how may I become free? For he is free for whom all things come to pass, according to his will, and whom none can hinder. What then is freedom? Madness? God forbid, for madness and freedom exist not together. But I wish all that I desire to come to pass, and in the manner that I desire. You are mad, you are beside yourself. Know you not that freedom is a glorious thing and of great worth? But that what I desired at random, I should wish at random to come to pass, so far from being noble, may well be exceeding base. You must know that it is no easy thing for a principle to become a man's own, unless each day he maintained it, and hear it maintained, as well as work it out in life. You are impatient and hard to please. If alone you call it solitude, if in the company of men you dub them conspirators and thieves, and find fault with your very parents, children, brothers, and neighbors, whereas when by yourself you should have called it tranquility and freedom, and herein deemed yourself like unto the gods. And when in the company of the many you should not have called it a weirdsome crowd and tumult, but an assembly and a tribunal, and thus accepted all with contentment. What then is the chastisement of those who accept it? Not to be as they are. Is any discontented with being alone? Let him be in solitude. Is any discontented with his parents? Let him be a bad son and lament. Is any discontented with his children? Let him be a bad father. Throw him into prison. What prison? Where he is already, for he is there against his will. And wherever a man is against his will, there to him is a prison. Thus Socrates was not in prison, since he was there with his own consent. knowing thou and speck thou art in comparison with the universe. That is, with respect to the body, since with respect to reason, thou art not inferior to the gods, nor less than they. For the greatness of reason is not measured by length or height, but by the resolves of the mind. Place then thy happiness in that wherein thou art equal to the gods. Asked how a man might eat acceptably to the gods, Epictetus replied, if when he eats he can be just, cheerful, equable, temperate, and orderly, can he not thus eat acceptably to the gods? But when you call for warm water and your slave does not answer, or when he answers brings it lukewarm, or is not even found to be in the house at all, then not to be vexed or burst with anger, is not that acceptable to the gods? But how can one endure such people? Slave, will you not endure your own brother that has got to his forefather, even as a son sprung from the same stock and of the same high descent as yourself? And if you are stationed in a high position, are you therefore forthwith to set up for a tyrant? Remember who you are and whom you rule, that they are by nature your kinsmen, your brothers, the offspring of God. But I paid a price for them, not they for me. Do you see whither you are looking? Down to the earth, to the pie, to the pit, to those despicable laws of the dead? But to the laws of the gods you do not look. When we are invited to a banquet, we take what is set before us, and were one to call upon his host to set fish upon the table or sweet things, he would be deemed absurd. Yet in a word, we ask the gods for what they do not give, and that although they have given us so many things. Asked how a man might convince himself that every single act of this was under the eye of God, Epictetus answered, do you not hold that all things are bound together in one? I do. Well, and do you not hold that things on earth and things in heaven are continuous and in unison with each other? I do, was the reply. Else how should the trees so regularly, as though by God's command, at his bidding flower, at his bidding send forth shoots, bear fruit and ripen it, at his bidding let it fall and shed their leaves, folded up upon themselves lie in quietness and rest? How else as the moon waxes and wanes, as the sun approaches and recedes, can it be that such vicissitude and alternation is seen in earthly things? If then all things that grow, nay, our own bodies are thus bound up with the whole, is it not this still truer of the souls? And if our souls are bound up and in contact with God as being very parts and fragments plucked from himself, shall he not feel every movement of theirs as though it were his own, and belonging to his own nature? But you say I cannot comprehend all this at once. Why, who told you that your powers were equal to God's? Yet God hath placed by the side of each a man's own guardian spirit. To the Stoics, the guardian spirit was each man's reason, who is charged to watch over him, the guardian who sleeps, nor is deceived. For to what better or more watchful guardian could he have committed each of us? So when you have shut the doors and made a darkness within, remember never to say that you are alone, for you are not alone, but God is within, and your guardian spirit. What light do they need to behold what you do? To this God you also should have sworn allegiance, even as soldiers unto Caesar. They, when their service is hired, swear to hold the life of Caesar dearer than all else. And will you not swear your oath, that are deemed worthy of so many and great gifts? And will you not keep your oath when you have sworn it? And what oath will you swear? Never to disobey, never to arraign or murmur at aught that comes to you from his hand, never unwillingly to do or suffer aught that necessity lays upon you. Is this oath like theirs? They swear to hold no other dearer than Caesar, you to hold our true selves dearer than all else beside. How shall my brother cease to be wroth with me? Bring him to me, and I will tell him. But to thee I have nothing to say about his anger. When one took counsel of Epictetus, saying, what I seek is this, how even though my brother be not reconciled, his nature would have me to be, he replied, all great things are slow of growth. Nay, this is true even of a grape or of a fig. If then you say to me, now I desire a fig, I shall answer, it needs time. Wait till it first flower, then cast its blossom, then ripen.
Whereas when the fruit of the fig tree reaches not to maturity suddenly, nor yet in a single hour, do you nevertheless desire so quickly and easily to reap the fruit of the mind of man? Nay, expect it not, even though I bade you. Epaphroditus had a shoemaker whom he sold as being good for nothing. This fellow by some accident was afterwards purchased by one of Caesar's men, and became shoemaker to Caesar. You should have seen what respect Epaphroditus paid him then. How does the good Felicion? Kindly let me know. And if any of us inquired, what is Epaphroditus doing? The answer was, he is consulting about so-and-so with Felicion. Had he not sold him as good for nothing, who had in a trice converted him into a wiseacre? This is what comes of holding of importance anything but the things that depend on the will. What you shun, enduring yourself, attempt not to impose on others. You shun slavery. Beware of enslaving others. If you can endure to do that, one would think you had been once upon a time a slave yourself. For vice has nothing in common with virtue, nor freedom with slavery. Has a man been raised to the tribuneship? Every one that he meets congratulates him. One kisses him on the eyes, another on the neck, while the slaves kiss his hands. He goes home to find torches burning. He ascends to the Capitol to sacrifice. Whoever sacrificed for having had right desires, for having conceived such inclinations as nature would have him. In truth, we thank the gods for that wherein we place our happiness. A man was talking to me today about the priesthood of Augustus. I said to him, let the thing go, my good sir. You will spend a great deal to no purpose. Well, but my name will be inserted in all the documents and contracts. Will you be standing there to tell those that read them, that is my name written there? And even though you could now be there in every case, what will you do when you are dead? At all events, my name will remain. Inscribe it on a stone, and it will remain just as well, and think beyond Nicopolis, what memory of you will there be. But I shall have a golden wreath to wear. If you must have a wreath, get a wreath of roses and put it on. You will look more elegant. Above all, remember that the door stands open. Be not more fearful than children, but as they, when they weary of the game, cry, I will play no more. Even so, when thou art in the like case, cry, I will play no more, and depart. But if thou stayest, make no lamentation. Is there smoke in the room? If it be slight, I remain. If grievous, I quit it. For you must remember this and hold it fast. The door stands open. You shall not dwell at Nicopolis, well and good, nor at Athens. And I will not dwell at Athens either, nor at Rome, nor at Rome either. You shall dwell in Gyara. Well, but to dwell in Gyara seems to me like a grievous smoke. Depart to a place where none can forbid me to dwell. That habitation is open to all. For as for the last garment of all, that is the poor body. Beyond that, none cannot do aught unto me. This is why Demetrius said to Nero, you threaten me with death, but it is nature who threatens you. The beginning of philosophy is to know the condition of one's own mind. If a man recognizes that this is in a weakly state, he will not then want to apply it to questions of the greatest moment, as it is men who are not fit to swallow even a morsel, buy whole treatises and try to devour them. Accordingly, they either vomit them up again or suffer from indigestion, whence come gripings, fluxions, and fevers, whereas they should have stopped to consider their capacity. In theory, it is easy to convince an ignorant person. In actual life, men not only object to offer themselves to be convinced, but hate the man who has convinced them. Whereas Socrates used to say that we should never lead a life not subjected to examination. This is the reason why Socrates, when reminded that he should prepare for his trial, answered, thinkest thou not that I have been preparing for it all my life? In what way? I have maintained that which in me lay. How so? I have never secretly, openly done a wrong unto any. In what character dost thou now come forward?
is a witness summoned by God. Come thou, saith God, and testify for me, for thou art worthy of being brought forward as a witness by me. Is aught that is outside thy will either good or bad? Do I hurt any man? Have I placed the good of each in the power of any other than himself? What witness dost thou bear to God? I am in evil state, master, I am undone. None careth for me, none giveth me aught. All men blame, all speak evil of me. Is this the witness thou wilt bear, and do dishonour to the calling wherewith he hath called thee? Because he hath done thee so great honour, and deemed thee worthy of being summoned to bear witness in so great a cause? Wouldst thou have men speak good of thee? Speak good of them. And when thou hast learned to speak good of them, try to do good unto them, and thus thou wilt reap in return their speaking good of thee. When thou goest into any of the great, remember that another from above sees what is passing, and that thou shouldest please him rather than man. He therefore asks thee, in the schools, what didst thou call exile, imprisonment, bonds, death, and shame? I call them different things, and I called them things indifferent. What then dost thou call them now? Are they at all changed? No. It is then thou that art changed? No. Say then, what are things indifferent? Things that are not in our power. Say then what follows, that things which are not in our power are nothing to me. Say also what things you hold to be good, a will such as it ought to be, and a right use of the things of sense. And what is the end? To follow thee. That Socrates should ever have been so treated by the Athenians, slave. Why say Socrates? Speak of the thing as it is. That ever then the poor body of Socrates should have been dragged away and haled by main force to prison. That ever hemlock should have been given to the body of Socrates. That should have breathed its life away. Do you marvel at this? Do you hold this unjust? Is it for this that you accuse God? Had Socrates no compensation for this? Where then for him was the ideal good? Whom shall we hearken to, you or him? And what says he? Anytus and Miletus may put me to death, to injure me is beyond their power. And again, if such be the will of God, so let it be. Nay, young man, for heaven's sake, but once thou hast heard these words, go home and say to thyself, it is not Epictetus that has told me these things, how indeed he... No, it is some gracious God through him, else it would never have entered his head to tell me them. He that is not used to speak to any one of us, well then let us not lie under the wrath of God, but be obedient unto him. Nay, indeed, but if a raven by its croaking bears thee any sign, it is not the raven but God that sends the sign through the raven. And if he signifies anything to thee through human voice, will he not cause the man to say these words to thee, that thou mayest know the power of the divine? How he sends a sign to some in one way, and to others in another, and on the greatest and highest matters of all signifies his will through the noblest messenger. What else does the poet mean? I spake unto him erst myself, and sent Hermes in the shining, one to check and warn him, the husband not to slay, nor woo the wife. In the same way, my friend Heraclitus, who had a trifling suit about a petty farm at Rhodes, first showed the judges that his cause was just, and then at the finish cried, I will not entreat you, nor do I care what sentence you pass. It is you who are on your trial, not I. And so he ended the case. As for us, we behave like a herd of deer. When they flee from the huntsman's feathers in affright, which way do they turn? What haven of safety do they make for? Why, they rush upon the nets, and thus they perish by confounding what they should fear with that wherein no danger lies. Not death or pain is to be feared, but the fear of death or pain. Well said the poet, therefore, death has no terror, only a death of shame. How is it then that certain external things are said to be natural, and others contrary to nature? Why, just as it might be said if we stood alone and apart from others, a foot, for instance, I will allow it is natural should be clean, but if you take it as a foot, and as a thing which does not stand by itself, it will beseem it, if need be, to walk in the mud, to tread on thorns, and sometimes even to be cut off for the benefit of the whole body. Else it is no longer a foot. In some such way we should conceive of ourselves also. What art thou, a man? Looked at as standing by thyself and separate, it is natural for thee in health and wealth long to live. But looked at as a man and only as a part of a whole, it is for that whole's sake that thou shouldst at one time fall sick, at another brave the perils of the sea again, know the meaning of want and perhaps die an earthly death, an early death. Why then repine? Knowest thou not that as the foot is no more a foot if detached from the body, so thou in like case art no longer a man? For what is a man? A part of a city, first of the city of gods and of men, next of that which ranks nearest it, a miniature of the universal city. In such a body, in such a world enveloping us, among lives like these, such things must happen to one or another. Thy part then being there is to speak of these things as is meet, and to order them as befits the matter. That was a good reply which Diogenes made to a man who asked him for letters of recommendation. That you are a man, he will know when he sees you whether a good or a bad one. He will know if he has any skill in discerning the good and the bad, but if he has none he will never know, though I write to him 1,000 times. It is as though a piece of silver money desired to be recommended to someone to be tested. If the man be a good judge of silver, he will know the coin will tell its own tale. Even as the traveler asks his way of him that he meets, inclined in no wise to bear to the right rather than to the left, for he desires only the way leading whither he would go, so should we come unto God as to a guide, even as we use our eyes without admonishing them, to show us some things rather than others, but content to receive the images of such things as they present unto us. But as it is, we stand anxiously watching the victim, and with the voice of supplication call upon the augur, Master, have mercy on me, vouchsafe unto me a way of escape. Slave, would you then have aught else than what is best? Is there anything better than what is God's good pleasure? Why, as far as in you lies, would you corrupt your judge and lead your counselor astray? God is beneficent, but the good also is beneficent. It should seem then that where the real nature of God is, there too is to be found the real nature of the good. What then is the real nature of God? Intelligence, knowledge, right, reason. Here then, without more ado, seek the real nature of the good. For surely thou dost not seek it in a plant or in an animal that reasoneth not. Seek then the real nature of the good in that without whose presence thou wilt not admit the good to exist in aught else. What then? Are not these other things also works of God? They are, but not preferred to honor, nor are they portions of God. But thou art a thing preferred to honor, thou art thyself a fragment torn from God. Thou hast a portion of him within thyself. How is it then that thou dost not know thy high descent, dost not know whence thou comest? Dost not know whence thou comest? When thou eatest, wilt thou not remember who thou art that eatest, and whom thou feedest? In intercourse, in exercise, in discussion, knowest thou not that it is a God whom thou feedest, a God whom thou exercisest, a God whom thou bearest about with thee, O miserable? And thou perceivest it not. Thinkest thou that I speak of a God of silver or gold, that is without thee? Nay, thou bearest him within thee, all unconscious of polluting him with thoughts impure and unclean deeds. Were an image of God present, thou wouldst not dare to act as thou dost. Yet when God himself is present within thee, beholding and hearing all, thou dost not blush to think that such thoughts and do such deeds. O thou that art insensible of thine own nature, and liest under the wrath of God, why then are we afraid when we send a young man from the schools into active life, lest he should indulge his appetites intemperately, lest he should debase himself by ragged clothing, or be puffed up by fine raiment? Knowest he not the God within him? Knowest he not with whom he is starting on his way? Have we patience to hear him say to us, Would I had thee within me? Hast thou not God where thou art, and having him dost thou still seek for any other? Would he tell thee aught what else than these things? Why, wert thou a statue of Phidias, an Athena or a Zeus, thou wouldst bethink thee both of thyself and thine artificer, and hadst thou any sense, thou wouldst strive to do no dishonor to thyself or him that fashioned thee, nor appear to beholders in unbefitting guise. But now, because God is thy maker, is that why thou carest not of that of what sort thou shalt know thyself to be. Yet how different the artists in their workmanship. What human artists' work, for example, has in the faculties that are displayed in fashioning it. Is it aught but marble, bronze, gold, or ivory? Nay, when the Athena of Phidias has put forth her hand and received therein a victory, in that attitude she stands forevermore. But God's works move and breathe, they use and judge the things of sense, the workmanship of such an artist. Wilt thou dishonor him? Aye, when he not only fashioned thee, but placed thee like a ward in the care and guardianship of thyself alone, wilt thou not only forget this, but also do dishonor to what is committed to thy care? If God had entrusted thee with an orphan, wouldst thou have thus neglected him? He hath delivered thee to thine own care, saying, I had none more faithful than myself. Keep this man for me, such as nature hath made him, modest, faithful, high-minded, a stranger to fear, to passion, to perturbation. Such will I show myself to you all, what exempt from sickness also, from age, from death. Nay, but accepting sickness, accepting death as becomes a god. No labor, according to Diogenes, is good, but that which aims at producing courage and strength of soul, rather than of body. A guide on finding a man who has lost his way brings him back to the right path. He does not mock and jeer at him, and then take himself off. You also must show the unlearned man the truth, and you will see that he will follow, but so long as you do not show it to him. You should not mock, but rather feel your own incapacity. It was the first and most striking characteristic of Socrates never to become heated in discourse, never to utter an injurious or insulting word. On the contrary, he persistently bore insult from others, and thus put an end to the fray. If you care to know the extent of his power in this direction, read Xenophon's Banquet, and you will see how many quarrels he put an end to. That is why the poets are right in so highly commending this faculty. Quickly and wisely, with all, even bitter feuds, would he settle. Nevertheless, the practice is not very safe at present, especially in Rome. One who adopts it, I need not say, ought not to carry it out in an obscure corner, but boldly accost, if occasion serve, some personage of rank or wealth. Can you tell me, sir, to whose care you entrust your horses? I can. Is it to the first comer who knows nothing about them? Certainly not. Well, what of the man who takes care of your gold, your silver, or your raiment? He must be experienced also. And your body? Have you ever considered about entrusting it to anyone's care? Of course I have. And no doubt to a person of experience as a trainer, a physician, surely. Are these things the best you possess, or have you anything more precious? What can you mean? I mean, that which employs thee, which weighs all things, which takes counsel and resolve. Oh, you mean the soul. You take me rightly, I do mean the soul. By heaven, I hold that far more precious than all else I possess. Can you show me, then, what care you bestow on the soul? For it can scarcely be thought that a man of your wisdom and consideration in the city would suffer your most precious possession to go to ruin through carelessness and neglect. Certainly not. Well, do you take care of it yourself? Did anyone teach you the right method, or did you discover it yourself? Now here comes in the danger. First, the great man may answer, Why, what is it that to you, my good fellow? Are you my master? And then, if you persist in troubling him, may raise his hand to strike you. It is a practice of which I was myself warm admirer, until such experiences as these befell me. When a youth was giving himself airs in the theatre, and saying, I am wise, for I have conversed with many wise, Epictetus replied, I too have conversed with many rich men, yet I am not rich. We see that a carpenter becomes a carpenter by learning certain things, like that of a pilot. By learning certain things becomes a pilot. Possibly also in the present case, the mere desire to be wise and good is not enough. It is necessary to learn certain things. Is then the object of our search. The philosophers would have us first learn that there is a God, and that his providence directs the universe. Further, that to hide from him not only one's acts, but even one's thoughts and intentions is impossible. Secondly, what the nature of God is, whatever the nature is discovered to be, the man ease and his might to made like to him. If the divine is faithful, he also must be faithful. If free, he also must be free. If beneficent, he also must be beneficent. If magnanimous, he also must be magnanimous. Thus, as an imitator of God, must he follow him in every deed and word. If I show you that you lack just what is most important and necessary to happiness, that hitherto your attention has been bestowed on everything rather than that which claims it most, and to crown all, that you know neither what God nor man is, neither what God nor evil is, why? That you are ignorant of everything else, perhaps you may bear to be told, but to hear that you know nothing of yourself, how could you submit to that? How could you stand your ground and suffer that to be proved? Clearly not at all. You instantly turn away in wrath. Yet what harm have I done you? Unless indeed the mirror harms the ill-favored man by showing him to himself just as he is, unless the physician can be thought to insult his patient when he... Do you suppose there is nothing new? Why, you have a fever, eat nothing today, and drink only water. Yet no one says what an insufferable man. Your desires are inflamed, your instinct action are weak and low, your aims are inconsistent, your impulses are not in harmony with nature, your opinions are rash and false. He forthwith goes away and complains that you have insulted him. Your way of life resembles a fair. The flocks and herds are passed along to be sold, and the greater part of the crowd to buy and sell. But there are some few who come only to look at the fair, to inquire how and why it is being held, upon what authority and with what object. So too, in this great fair of life, some, like the cattle, trouble themselves about nothing but the fodder. Know all of you, who are busied about land, slaves, and public posts, that there are nothing but fodder. Some few things are attending the fair, who love to contemplate what the world is, what he that administers it. Can there be no administrator? Is it possible that while neither city nor household could endure even for a moment without one to administer and see to its welfare, this fabric so fair, so vast, should be administered in order so harmonious, without a purpose, and by blind chance? There is therefore an administrator. What is his nature, and how much and how does he administer? Who are we that are his children, and what work were we born to perform? Have we any close connection or relation with him or not? Such are the impressions of the few of whom I speak, and further they apply themselves solely to considering and examining the great assembly before they depart. While they are derided by the multitude, so are the lookers-on by the traders. Aye, and if the beast had any sense, they would deride those who thought much of anything but fodder. I think I know now what I never knew before, the meaning of the common saying, a fool you can neither bend nor break. Pray heaven I may never have a wise fool for my friend. There is nothing more intractable, my resolve is fixed. Why, so madmen say too, but the more firmly they believe in the delusions, the more they stand in need of treatment. Oh, what shall I see Athens and its Acropolis again? Miserable man, art thou not contented with the daily sights and meet thine eyes? Canst thou behold aught greater or nobler than the sun, moon, and stars? Than the outspread earth and sea? If indeed thou apprehendest him who administers the universe, if thou bearest him about within thee, canst thou still hanker after mere fragments of stone and a fine rock? When thou art about to bid farewell to the sun and moon itself, wilt thou sit down and cry like a child? Why, what didst thou hear? What didst thou learn? Why didst thou write thyself down a philosopher, when thou mightest have written what was the fact, namely, I have made 1 or 2 compendiums, I have read some works of Chrysippus, and I have not even touched the hem of philosophy's robe. Friend, lay hold with a desperate grasp, ere it is too late, on freedom, on tranquility, on greatness of soul. Lift up thy thread, lift up thy head, as one escaped from slavery. Dare to look up to God and say, deal with me henceforth as thou wilt. Thou and I are of one mind.
I am thine, I refuse nothing that seemeth good to thee. Lead on whither thou wilt, clothe me in what garb thou pleasest. Wilt thou have me a ruler or a subject, at home or in exile, poor or rich? All these things will I justify unto men for thee. I will show the true nature of each. Who would Hercules have been had he loitered at home? No Hercules, but Eurystheus. And in his wanderings through the world, how many friends and comrades did he find, but nothing dearer to him than God? Wherefore he was believed to be God's son, as indeed he was. So then, in obedience to him, he went about delivering the earth from injustice and lawlessness. But thou art not Hercules, thou sayest, and canst not deliver others from their iniquity, not even Theseus to deliver the soil of Attica from its monsters. Put away thine own, cast forth thence from thine own mind, that robbers and monsters but fear, desire, envy, malignity, avarice, effeminacy, intemperance, and these may not be cast out except by looking to God alone, by fixing thy affections on him only, and by consecrating thyself to his commands. If thou choosest aught else, with sighs and groans thou wilt be forced to follow a might greater than thine own, ever seeking tranquillity without, and never able to attain unto her, for thou seekest her where she is not to be found, and where she is, there thou seekest her not. If a man would pursue philosophy, his first task is to throw away conceit, for it is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he has a conceit that he already knows. For it is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he has a conceit, that he already knows. Give me but one young man that has come to the school with this intention, who stands forth a champion of this cause, and says, all else I renounce, content if I am but able to pass my life free from hindrance and trouble, to raise my head aloft and face all things as a free man, to look up to heaven and as a friend of God, fearing nothing that may come to pass. Point out such a one to me, that I may say, enter, young man, into possession of that which is thine own. For thy lot is to adorn philosophy. Thine are these possessions, thine these books, these discourses. And when our champion has duly exercised himself in this part of the subject, I hope he will come back to me and say, what I desire is to be free from passion and from perturbation, as one who grudges no pains in the pursuit of piety and philosophy. What I desire is to know my duty to the gods, my duty to my parents, to my brothers, to my country, to my strangers. Enter then on the second part of the subject. It is thine also, but I have already mastered the second part, only I wish to stand firm and unshaken, as firm when asleep as when awake, as firm when elated as with wine, as in despondency and dejection. Friend, you are verily a god, you cherish great designs. The question at stake, said Epictetus, is no common one. It is this, are we in our senses, or are we not? If you have given way to anger, be sure that over and above the evil involved therein, you have strengthened the habit and added fuel to the fire. If overcome by a temptation of the flesh, do not reckon it a single defeat, but that you have also strengthened your dissolute habits. Habits and faculties are necessarily affected by the corresponding acts. Those that were not there before spring up, the rest gain in strength and extent. This is the account which philosophers give of the origin of diseases of the mind. Suppose you have once lusted after money. If reason sufficient to produce a sense of the evil be applied, then the lust is checked, and the mind at once regains its original authority. Whereas if you have recourse to no remedy, you can no longer look for this return. On the contrary, the next time it is excited by the corresponding object, the flame of desire leaps up more quickly than before. With frequent repetition, the mind in the long run becomes callous, and thus this mental disease produces confirmed avarice. One who has had fever, even when it has left him, is not in the same condition of health as before, unless indeed his cure is complete. Something of the same sort is true also of diseases of the mind. Behind there remains a legacy of traces and of blisters, and unless these are effectually erased, subsequent blows on the same spot will produce no longer mere blisters, but sores. If you do not wish to be prone to anger, do not feed the habit. Give it nothing which may tend to its increase. At first keep quiet and count the days when you are not angry. I used to be angry every day, then every other day, next every 2, next every 3 days. And if you succeed in passing 30 days, sacrifice to the gods in thanksgiving. How then may this be attained? Resolve now, if never before, to prove thyself to thyself. Resolve to show thyself fair in God's sight. Long to be pure with thine own pure self and God. That is the true athlete that trains himself to resist such outward impressions as these. Stay, wretched man, suffer not thyself to be carried away. Great is the combat, divine the task. You are fighting for kingship, for liberty, for happiness, for tranquility. Remember God, call upon him to aid thee, like a comrade that stands beside thee in the fight. Who then is a Stoic, in the sense that we call it a statue of Phidias, which is modeled after that master's art? Show me a man in this sense modeled after the doctrines that are ever upon his lips. Show me a man that is sick and happy, in danger and happy on his deathbed, and happy in exile and happy in evil report and happy. Show me him, I ask again, so help me heaven, I long to see one Stoic. Nay, if you cannot show me one fully modeled, let me at least see one in whom the process is at work, one whose bent is in that direction. Do me that favor, grudge it not to an old man to behold a sight that he has never yet beheld. Think you I wish to see the Zeus or Athena of Phidias, bedecked with gold and ivory? Nay, show me one of you a human soul, desiring to be of one mind with God, no more to lay blame on him or man, to suffer nothing, to disappoint nothing, to cross him, to yield neither to anger, envy, nor jealousy. In a word, why disguise the matter? One that from a man would fain become a god, one that while still imprisoned in this dead body makes fellowship with God his aim. Show me him. Ah, you cannot. Then why mock yourselves and delude others? Why stalk we about, tricked out in other men's attire, thieves and robbers that you are of names and things to which you can show no title? But God hath introduced man to be a spectator of himself and of his works, and not a spectator only, but also an interpreter of them. Wherefore it is a shame for man to begin and to leave off where the brutes do. Rather he should begin there, and leave off where nature leaves off in us, and that is at contemplation and understanding, and a manner of life that is in harmony with herself. See then that ye die not without being spectators of these things. You journey to Olympia to see the work of Phidias, and each of you holds it a misfortune not to have beheld these things before you die. Whereas when there is no need even to take a journey, but you are on the spot with the works before you, have you no care to contemplate and study these? Will you not then perceive either who you are, or unto what end you were born, or for what purpose the power of contemplation has bestowed upon you? But in life there are some things disagreeable and hard to bear. And are there none at Olympia? Have you not scorched by the heat? Are you not cramped for room? Have you not to bathe with discomfort? Are you not drenched when it rains? Have you not to endure the clamor and shouting and such annoyances as these? Well, I suppose you set all this over against the splendor of the spectacle, and bear it patiently. What then? Have you not received powers wherewith to endure all that comes to pass? Have you not received greatness of heart, received courage, received fortitude? What care I if I am great of heart, for aught that can come to pass? What shall cast me down or disturb me? What shall seem painful? Shall I not use the power to end for which I received it, instead of moaning and wailing over what comes to pass? If what philosophers say of the kinship of God and men be true, what remains for men to do but as Socrates did? Never, when asked one's country, to answer, I am an Athenian or a Corinthian, but I am a citizen of the world. He that hath grasped the administration of the world, who hath learned that this community, which consists of God and men, is the foremost and mightiest and most comprehensive of all, that from God have descended the germs of life, not to my father only and father's father, but to all things that are born and grow upon the earth, and in an especial manner to those endowed with reason, for those only are by their nature fitted to hold communion with God, being by means of reason conjoined with him. Why should not such an one call himself a citizen of the world? Why not a son of God? Why should he fear aught that comes to pass among men? Shall kinship with Caesar or any other of the great at Rome be enough to hedge men around with safety and consideration, without a thought of apprehension, while to have God for our Maker, and Father the kinsman, shall not this set us free from sorrows and fears? I do not think that an old fellow like me need have been sitting here to try and prevent your entertaining abject notions of yourselves, and talking of yourselves in an abject and ignoble way, but to prevent there being by chance among you any such young men as, after recognizing the kindred to the gods, and the bondage in these chains of the body and its manifold necessities, should desire to cast them off as burdens too grievous to be borne, and depart to their true kindred. This is the struggle in which your master and teacher, were he worthy of the name, should be engaged. You would come to me and say, Epictetus, we can no longer endure being chained to this wretched body, giving it food and drink and rest and purification, aye, and for its sakes forced to be subservient to this man and that. Are not these things indifferent and nothing to us? Is it not true that death is no evil? Are we not in a manner kinsmen of the gods, and have we not come from them? Let us depart thither whence we came. Let us be freed from these chains that confine and press us down. Here are thieves and robbers and tribunals, and they that are called tyrants, who deem that they have after a fashion power over us, because of the miserable body and what pertains to it. Let us show them that they have power over none. And to this I reply, friends, wait for God. When he gives the signal and releases you from this service, then depart to him. But for the present endure to dwell in the place wherein he hath assigned you your post. Short indeed is the time of your habitation therein, and easy to those that are thus minded. What tyrant, what robber, what tribunals have any terrors for those who thus esteem the body and all that belong to it as of no account? Stay, depart not rashly hence. Something like that is what should pass between a teacher and ingenious youths. As it is, what does pass? The teacher is a lifeless body, and you are lifeless bodies yourselves. When you have had enough to eat today, you sit down and weep about tomorrow's food. Slave! If you have it, well and good. If not, you will depart. The door is open. Why lament? What further room is there for tears? What further occasion for flattery? Why should one envy another? Why should you stand in awe of them that have much or are placed in power, especially if they be at all so strong and passionate? Why, what should they do to us? What they can do we will not regard. What does concern us that they cannot do? Who then shall still rule one that is thus minded? Seeing this then, and noting well the faculties which you have, you should say, send now, O God, any trial that thou wilt, although I have means and powers given me by thee to acquit myself with honor through whatever comes to pass. No, but there you sit trembling for fear certain things should come to pass, and moaning and groaning and lamenting over what does come to pass, and then you upbraid the gods. Such meanness of spirit can have but one result, in piety. Yet God has not only given us these faculties by means of which we may bear everything that comes to pass without being crushed or depressed thereby, but like a good king and father, he has given us this without let or hindrance, placed wholly at our own disposition without reserving to himself any power of impediment or restraint. Though possessing all these things free and all your own, you do not use them. You do not perceive what is you have received, nor whence it comes, but sit moaning and groaning. Some of you blind to the giver, making no acknowledgment to your benefactor, others basely giving themselves to complaints and accusations against God. Yet what faculties and powers you possess for attaining courage and greatness of heart, I can easily show you what you have for upbraiding and accusation. It is for you to show me. How did Socrates bear himself in this regard? How else then as became one who was fully assured that he was the kinsman of the gods? If God has made that part of his own nature which he served, severed from himself and gave to us, liable to be hindered or constrained either by himself or any other, he would not have been God. nor would he have been taking care of us as he ought. If you choose, you are free. If you choose, you need blame no man, accuse no man. All things will be at once according to your mind and according to the mind of God. Petrification is of two sorts. There is petrification of the understanding, and also the sense of shame. This happens when a man obstinately refuses to acknowledge plain truths and persists in maintaining what is self-contradictory. Most of us dread mortification of the body and would spare no pains to escape anything of that kind, but of mortification of the soul we are utterly heedless. With regard, indeed, to the soul, if a man is in such a state as to be incapable of following or understanding anything, I grant you, we do think him in a bad way. But mortification of the sense of shame and modesty, we go so far as to develop strength of mind.
Don't miss out on the fun. Download now.
If you have assumed a character beyond your strength, you have played a poor figure in that, and neglected one that is within your powers. Fellow, you have come to blows at home with a slave. You have turned the household upside down, and thrown the neighborhood into confusion. Do you come to me, then, with airs of assumed modesty? Do you sit down like a sage and criticize my explanation of the readings, and whatever idle babble you say has come into my head? Have you come full of envy and dejected because nothing is sent you from home, and while the discussion is going on, do you sit brooding on nothing but how your father or your brother are disposed towards you? What are they saying about me here? About me there? At this moment they imagine I am making progress and saying he will return perfectly omniscient. I wish I could become omniscient before I return, but that would be very troublesome. No one sends me anything. The baths at Nicopolis are dirty. Things are wretched at home and wretched here. Then they say nobody is any the better for the school. Who comes to the school with a sincere wish to learn, to submit his principles to correction and himself to treatment? Who, to gain a sense of his wants? Why, then be surprised if you carry home from the school exactly what you bring into it. Epictetus, I have often come desiring to hear you speak, and you have never given me any answer. Now, if possible, I entreat you, say something to me. Is there, do you think, replied Epictetus, an art of speaking as of other things? If it is to be done skillfully and with profit to the hearer, yes. And are all profited by what they hear, or only some among them? So that it seems there is an art of hearing as well as of speaking. To make a statue needs skill, to view a statue aright needs skill also, admitted. And I think all will allow that one who proposes to hear philosophers speak needs a considerable training in hearing. Is that not so? Then tell me, on what subject are you able to hear me? Why on good and evil? The good and evil of what? A horse, an ox? No, of a man. Do we know then what man is? What his nature is? That is the idea we have of him. And are our ears practiced in any degree on the subject? Nay, do you understand what nature is? Can you follow me in any degree when I say that I shall have to use demonstration? Do you understand what demonstration is? What true or false is? Must I drive you to philosophy? Show me what good I am to do by discoursing with. Rouse my desire to do so. The sight of the pasture it loves stirs in the sheep the desire to feed. Show a stone or a bit of bread and it remains unmoved. Thus we must also have certain natural desires, and one that moves us to speak when we find a listener that is worth his salt, one that himself stirs the spirit. But if he sits by like a stone or a tuft of grass, how can he rouse a man's desire? Then you will say nothing to me. I can only tell you this, that one who knows not who he is and to what end he was born, what kind of world this is, and with whom he is associated therein, one who cannot distinguish good and evil, beauty and foulness, truth and falsehood, will never follow reason in shaping his desires and impulses, and repulsions, nor yet innocent denial, or suspension of judgment, but will in one word go about deaf and blind, thinking himself to be somewhat, and then he is in truth of no account. Is there anything new in all this? Is not this ignorance the cause of all the mistakes and mischances of men since the human race began? This is all I have to say to you, and even this against the grain. Why? Because you have not stirred my spirit, for what can I see in you to stir me? As a spirited horse will stir a judge of horses? Your body that you maltreat, your dress that is luxurious, your behavior, your look, nothing whatever. When you want to hear a philosopher, do not say you say nothing to me. Only show yourself worthy or fit to hear, and then you will see how you will move the speaker. And now, when you see brothers apparently good friends and living in accord, do not immediately pronounce anything upon their friendship, though they should affirm it with an oath, though they should declare for us to live apart is a thing impossible. For the heart of a bad man is faithless, unprincipled, inconstant. Now overpowered by one impression, now by another. Ask not the usual questions. Were they born of the same parents, reared together and under the same tutor? But ask this only, in what they place their real interest, whether in outward things or in the will. If in outward things, call them not friends, any more than faithful, constant, brave, or free. Call them not even human beings if you have any sense. But should you hear that these men hold them good to lie only in the will, only in rightly dealing with the things of sense, take no more trouble to inquire whether they are father and son or brothers or comrades of long standing, but sure of this one thing, pronounce as boldly that they are friends as that they are faithful and just. For where else can friendship be found than where modesty is, where there is an interchange of things fair and honest, and of such only? No man can rob us of our will, no man can lord it over that. When disease and death overtake me, I would fain be found engaged in the task of liberating mine own will from the assaults of passion, from hindrance, from resentment, from slavery. Thus would I fain be found employed, so that I might say to God, have I in aught transgressed thy commands? Have I in aught perverted the faculties, the senses, the natural principles that thou didst give me? Have I ever blamed thee or found fault with thine administration? When it was thy good pleasure, I fell sick, and so did other men, but my will consented. Because it was thy pleasure, I became poor, but my heart rejoiced. No power in the state was mine, because thou wouldst not such power I never desired. Hast thou ever seen me of more doleful countenance? On that account have I not ever drawn nigh unto thee with cheerful look, waiting upon thy commands, attentive to thy signals. Wilt thou that I now depart from the great assembly of men? I go, I give thee all thanks that thou hast deemed me worthy to take part with thee in this assembly, to behold thy works, to comprehend this thine administration. Such I would were the subject of my thoughts, my pen, my study, when death overtakes me. Seemeth it nothing to you, never to accuse, never to blame either good or man, to wear ever the same countenance in going forth as in coming in? This was the secret of Socrates, yet he never said that he knew or taught anything. Who amongst you makes this his aim? Were it indeed so, you would gladly endure sickness, hunger, aye, death itself. How are we constituted by nature, to be free, to be noble, to be modest? For what other living thing is capable of blushing or of feeling the impression of shame, and to subordinate pleasure to the ends for which nature designed us, as a handmaid and a minister, in order to call forth our activity, in order to keep us constant to the path prescribed by nature? The husband deals with land, physicians and trainers with the body, the wise man with his own mind. Which of us does not admire what Lycurgus the Spartan did? The young citizen had put out his eye and had been handed over to him by the people to be punished at his own discretion. Lycurgus abstained from all vengeance, but on the contrary instructed him and made a good man of him. Producing him in the public, in the theatre, he said to the astonished Spartans, I received this young man at your hands full of violence and wanton insolence. I restore him to you in his right mind and fit to serve his country. A money changer may not reject Caesar's coin, nor may the seller of herbs, but must, when once the coin is shown, deliver what is sold for it, whether he will or no. So is it also with the soul. Once the good appears, it attracts towards itself, evil repels. But a clear and certain impression of the good the soul will never reject any more than men do Caesar's coin, and this hangs every impulse alike of man and God. As to its common censors, Epictetus replied, as that may be called a common ear which distinguishes only sounds, while that which distinguishes musical notes is not common, but produced by training. So there are certain things which men not entirely perverted see by the natural principle common to all. Such a constitution of the mind is called common sense. Canst thou judge men? Then make us imitators of thyself, as Socrates did. Do this, do not do that, else will I cast thee into prison. This is not governing men like reasonable creatures. Say rather, as God hath ordained, so do, else thou wilt suffer chastisement and loss. Askest thou what lost? None other than this, to have left undone what thou shouldst have done, to have lost the faithfulness, the reverence, the modesty that is in thee. Greater loss than this seek not to find. His son is dead. What has happened? His son is dead. Nothing more, nothing. His ship is lost. What has happened? His ship is lost. He has been haled to prison. What has happened? He has been haled to prison. But that any of these things are misfortunes to him. He's in addition with every one makes of his own, but you say God is unjust in this way. Why? For having given thee endurance and greatness of soul, for having made such things to be no evils, for placing happiness within thy reach even when enduring them, for opening unto thee a door when things make not for thy good. Depart, my friend, and find no fault. You are sailing to Rome, and you tell me to obtain the post of governor of Gnosis. You are not content to stay at home with the honors you had before. You want something on a larger scale, more conspicuous. But when did you ever undertake a voyage for the purpose of reviewing your own principles and getting rid of any of them that proved unsound? Whom did you ever visit for that object? What time did you ever set yourself for that? What age run over the times of your life by yourself if you are ashamed before me? Did you examine your principles when a boy? Did you not do everything just as you do now? Or when you were a stripling, attending the school of oratory and practicing the art yourself, what did you ever imagine you lacked? And when you were a young man, entered upon public life, and were pleading causes and making a name, who any longer seemed equal to you? And at what moment would you have endured another examining your principles and proving that they were unsound? What then am I to say to you, help me in this matter? You cry, ah! For that I have no rule, and neither did you, if that was your object. Come to me as a philosopher, but as you might have gone to an herb saddler or a cobbler. What do philosophers have rules for, then? Why, that whatever may be tied, our ruling faculty may be as nature would have it, and so remain. Think you this a small matter? Not so, but the greatest thing there is. Well, does it need but a short time? Can it be grasped by a passer-by? Grasp it if you can. Then you will say, yes, I met Epictetus. I, just as you might a statue or a monument, you saw me. That is all. But a man who meets a man is one who learns the other's mind and lets him see his in return. Then my mind, show me yours, and then go and say that you met me. Let us try each other. If I have any wrong principle, rid me of it. If you have, out with it. That is what meeting a philosopher means. Not so. You think this is only a flying visit. While we are hiring the ship, we can see Epictetus too. Let us see what he has to say, then on leaving you cry out on Epictetus for a worthless fellow, provincial and barbarous of speech. What else indeed did you come to judge of? Whether you will or not, you are poorer than I. What then do I lack? What you have not, constancy of mind, such as nature would have it be. Tranquility. Patron or no patron, what care I? But you do care. I am richer than you. I am not racked with anxiety as to what Caesar may think of me. Flatter none on that account. This is what I have instead of vessels of gold and silver. Your vessels may be of gold, but your reason, your principles, your accepted views, your inclinations, your desires are of earthenware. To you, all you have seems small. To me, all I have seems great. Your desire is insatiable. Mine is satisfied. See children thrusting their hands into a narrow-necked jar and striving to pull out the nuts and figs it contains. They fill the land, they cannot pull it out again, and then they fall to tears. Let go a few of them, and then you can draw out the rest. You too, let your desire go. Covet not many things, and you will obtain. Pittacus, wronged by one whom he had it in his power to punish, let him go free, saying, forgiveness is better than revenge. The one shows native gentleness, the other savagery. My brother ought not to have treated me thus, true, but he must see to that. However he may treat me, I must deal rightly by him. This is what lies with me, what none can hinder. Nevertheless, a man should also be prepared to be sufficient unto himself, to dwell with himself alone, even as God dwells with himself alone, shares his repose with none, and considers the nature of his own administration, intent upon such thoughts as of meat unto himself. So should we also be able to converse with ourselves, to need none else beside, to sigh for no distraction, to bend our thoughts upon the divine administration, and how we stand related to all us, to observe how human accidents touched us of old, and how they touch us now, what things they are that still have power to hurt us, and how they may be cured or removed, to perfect what needs perfecting, as reason would direct. The man has frequent intercourse with others, either in the way of conversation, entertainment, or simple familiarity. He must either become like them or change them to his own fashion. A live coal placed next to a dead one will either kindle that or be quenched by it. Such being the risk, it is well to be cautious in admitting intimacies of this sort, remembering that one cannot rub shoulders with a soot-stained man without sharing the soot oneself. What will you do, supposing the talk turns on gladiators, or horses, or prize fighters, or what is worse, on persons, condemning this and that, approving the others? Or suppose a man sneers or jeers or shows a malignant temper. Has any among us the skill of the lute player, who knows at the first touch which strings are out of tune and sets the instrument right? Has any of you such a power as Socrates had in all his intercourse with men, of winning them over to his own convictions? Nay, but you must needs be swayed hither and thither by the uninstructed. How comes it then that they prove so much stronger than you? Because they speak from the fullness of the heart. Their low, corrupt views are their real convictions, whereas your fine sentiments are but from the lips, outwards. That is why they are so nerveless and dead. It turns one's stomach to listen to your exaltations and hear of your miserable virtue, that you prate up and down. Thus it is that the vulgar prove too strong for you. Everywhere strength, everywhere victory waits your conviction. In general, any methods of discipline applied to the body which tend to modify its desires or repulsions are good for aesthetic ends, but if done for display, they betray at once a man who keeps an eye on an outward show, who has an ulterior purpose and is looking for spectators to shout, "Oh, what a great man!" This is why Apollonius so well said, if you are bent upon a little private discipline, wait till you are choking with heat some day, then take a mouthful of cold water and spit it out again and tell no man. Study how to give as one that is sick, that thou mayest hereafter give as one that is whole. Fast, drink water, only abstain altogether from desire, that thou mayest hereafter conform thy desire to reason. Thou wouldst do good unto men, then show them by thine own example what kind of men philosophy can make, and cease from foolish trifling. Eating, do good to them that eat with thee. Drinking, to them that drink with thee. Yield unto all, give way, and bear with them. Thus shalt thou do them good, but vent not upon them thine own evil humor. Even as bad actors cannot sing alone, but only in chorus, so some cannot walk alone. Man, if thou art aught, strive to walk alone, and hold converse with thyself, instead of skulking in the chorus. At length think, look around thee, bestir thyself, that thou mayest know thou art. You would fain be victor at the Olympic Games, you say. Yes, but weigh the conditions, weigh the consequences then, and then only lay to your hand. If it be for your profit, you must live by rules, submit to diet, abstain from dainty meats, exercise your body perforce its stated hours. In heat or in cold, drink no cold water, nor it may be wine. In a word, you must surrender yourself wholly to your trainer as though to a physician. Then in the hour of contest, you will have to delve the ground. It may chance dislocate an arm, sprain an ankle, gulp down abundance of yellow sand. Be scourged with the whip, and with all this sometimes lose the victory. Count the cost, and then, if your desire still holds, try the wrestler's life. Else let me tell you that you will be behaving like a pack of children, playing now at wrestlers, now at gladiators, presently falling to trumpeting and onto stage playing. And the fancy takes them for what they have seen. And you are even the same, wrestler, gladiator, philosopher, orator, all by turns, and none of them with your whole soul. Like an ape, you mimic what you see, to one thing constant, never. The thing that is familiar charms no more. This is because you never undertook aught with due consideration, nor after strictly testing and viewing it from every side. No, your choice was thoughtless. The glow of your desire had waxed cold. Friend, bethink you first what it is that you would do, and then what your own nature is able to bear. Would you be a wrestler? Consider your shoulders, your thighs, your loins. Not all men are formed to the same end. Think you to be a philosopher while acting as you do? Think you can go on thus eating, thus drinking, giving way in like manner to wrath and to displeasure? Nay, you must watch, you must labor, overcome certain desires. Quit your familiar friends, submit to be despised by your slave, to be held in derision by them that meet you, to take the lower place in all things, in office and positions of authority in courts of law. Weigh these things fully, and then, if you will, lay to your hand, if as the price of these things you would gain freedom, tranquility, and passionless serenity. He that hath no musical instruction is a child in music. He that hath no letters is a child in learning. He that is untaught is a child in life. Can any profit be derived from these men? Aye, from all. What, even from a reveler? Why, tell me what profit a wrestler gains from him who exercises him beforehand. The very greatest. He trains me in the practice of endurance, of controlling my temper, of gentle ways. You deny it. What, the man who lays hold of my neck and disciplines loins and shoulders does me good, while he that trains me to keep my temper does me none? This is what it means, that knowing how to gain advantage from men is my neighbor bad. Bad to himself, but good to me. He brings my good temper, my gentleness into play. Is my father bad? Bad to himself, but good to me. This is the rod of Hermes. Touch what you will with it, they say, and it becomes gold. Nay, but bring what you will, and I will transmute it into good. Bring sickness, bring death, bring poverty, and reproach, bring trial for life. All these things through the rod of Hermes shall be turned to profit. Till then these sound opinions have taken firm root in you, and you have gained a measure of strength for your security. I counsel you to be cautious in associating with the uninstructed, else whatever impressions you receive upon the tablets of your mind in the school will day by day melt and disappear. Wax and the sun withdraw then somewhere far from the sun while you have these waxen sentiments. We must approach this matter in a different way. It is great and mystical. It is no common thing, nor given to every man. Wisdom alone, it may be, will not suffice for the care of youth. A man needs also a certain measure of readiness and aptitude for the office, aye, and certain bodily qualities, and above all to be counselled of God himself to undertake this post, even as he counselled Socrates to fill the post of one who confutes error, signing to Diogenes the royal office of high reproof, and to Zeno that of positive instruction. Whereas you would fain set up for a physician provided with nothing but drugs, where and how they should be applied you neither know nor care. If what charms you is nothing but abstract principles, sit down and turn them over quietly in your mind, but never dub yourself a philosopher, nor suffer others to call you so. Rather say, he is in error, for my desires, my impulses are unaltered. I give in my adhesion to what I did before, nor has my mode of dealing with the things of sense undergone any change. And a friend inclined to cynic views asked Epictetus what sort of person a true cynic should be. Requesting a general sketch of the system, he answered, we will consider that at leisure. At present I content myself with saying this much. If a man put his hands to so weighty a matter without God, the wrath of God abides upon him. That which he covets but bring upon him public shame, and even on finding himself in a well-ordered house, Does a man step forward and say to himself, I must be master here? Else the lord of that house takes notice of it, and seeing him insolently giving orders, drags him forth and chastises him. So it is also in this great city of the world. Here also is there a lord of the house who orders.
Right beside of his brain. She retards and drugs and alcohol too regularly.
Well, wait, do we know that for sure? Hold on.
I'm talking to him. I don't like making shit up. The guys on here threw up the game, so and the only time I catch him sober was like pre-10 a.m.
Well, maybe you're not on all the time, huh?
Hey John, don't you know by now that this is therapy session?
It's so left-wing this morning. This is getting excited. Super standard collective.
Yeah, don't you guys know you're technically just doing Bitcoin hypnotherapy?
Technically.
Alright, take out.
Don't check.
What's with all the misfits? I've been watching baseball, so.
There's rascals on this app.
You're watching baseball, John is playing baseball.
Ding, 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 ding,
John,
ding.
what is that? Is that techno? I can't tell. It looks familiar, but I can't.
It's RBI baseball for the original Nintendo.
John, I want to test your drug abuser radar. What percent of the time do you think I'm on this app high on marijuana?
Most of the time.
100.
I'm gonna say 40%. 40%.
Is marijuana even a drug at this point? It's like smoking a cigarette is like having like
Like it's ketamine in the drug.
dude, they have ketamine lounges all throughout New York now. You can just go in there, pop in, get some ketamine, and pop out.
You know, all your friends do that.
You took the time to learn that, huh, David?
They're everywhere. He's got like a geolocator in his head.
Well, I'm gonna go to the gym and pump some iron and get swole.
I can't wait to talk to Jimmy. I'll be like, Jimmy, who the fuck is this weird stalker you're hanging out with?
You haven't done your
You
British
got
Auto
8
voice.
kids. You got 8 kids. You don't have time for stalkers. What are you doing?
No, I don't bother Jamil anymore. He's got too many responsibilities. The whole family has too many responsibilities. They've created a whole new tribe.
John was closer to Patrick. Although Patrick, I feel like I run into you in the mornings a little more. So
A little more lucid.
a little more lucid in the mornings.
So I'd like to read my Bitcoin poetry if you have ears to listen.
Thank you. What's up, Cal?
What's good? What's good? Who am I talking to? I can't see the screen.
Ooh, no. Hey, Dalton, you've had lots of time to think about it. Who's your favorite?
Sean O'Malley.
Okay, this is Bitcoin poetry reading.
Who orders all things. Thou art the sun. In thine orbit thou hast power to make the year and the seasons, to bid the fruits and the earth grow and increase, the winds rise and fall. Thou canst into measure cherish with thy warmth the frames of men. Go make thy circuit, and thus minister unto all from the greatest to the least. Thou canst lead a host against Troy, be Agamemnon. Thou canst meet Hector in single combat, be Achilles. But had Thersites stepped forward and claimed the chief command, he had been met with a refusal, or obtained it only to his own shame and confusion of face before a cloud of witnesses. Others may fence themselves with walls and houses. When they do such deeds as these and wrap themselves in darkness, they have many a device to hide themselves. Another may shut his door and station one before his chamber to say, if any comes, he has gone forth, he is not at leisure. But the true cynic will have none of these things. Instead of them, he must wrap himself up in modesty, else he will bring about himself to shame and naked under the open sky. That is his house, that is his door, that is the slave that guards his chamber, that is his darkness. Death? Let it come when it will, but whether it smite but a part or the whole, fly, you tell me fly. But whither shall I fly? Can any man cast me beyond the limits of the world? It may not be, and whithersoever I go, there shall I still find sun, moon, and stars. There shall I find dreams and omens and converse with the gods.